And welcome to the Real Super Geeks podcast live today, December 26th, Boxing Day. And we are going to be talking mostly about the latest episode of Star Trek Discovery. Lots to talk about in a bizarre turn of events on that show. We also have a special guest that we'll be introducing in just a second. And join us for the rest of the show. And of course, stick around after for our Florida Man segment after the formal close of the show, because that's always a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and introduce the rest of my fellow co-hosts, and then we'll jump right into the Star Trek news of the week. First, we'll start with the guy who controls everything behind the scenes. That is our stalwart producer, Justin Burton. Justin, how are you this week?
I'm doing pretty good. It was actually really good. I got the present from a couple of Geek members, which we'll go over later on. And it was a really good Christmas holiday. Quite fun.
Excellent. Let's see. Who else do we have? We have my two favorite people when they're together. That is, you know him as one of the admins of Facebook's largest Star Trek group. His name is Travis, and he is joined by his trusty sidekick, Lane. Or I should have said the other way around. Lane is joining us with his trusty sidekick, Travis.
He's probably going to stay angry at you all night for that one, just so you know.
What? I made it right. I corrected myself, right, Lane?
No.
Finally, you used that right, Justin. Thank you.
That was
He will. He'll think about it. You might face a punishment later.
I would love that, Lane. I'm just saying. Travis, how was your Christmas?
Quiet. It was very quiet, and personally, I'm kind of thankful for that. It was a little bit of an anxious build-up the first couple nights, but Christmas Eve, I had a nice dinner with my sister, and Christmas Day, I just kind of hung out around here, and it was just kind of calming, and
awesome.
Not much more to say.
Well, I'm glad you could be with us here today. Next on the list is, most of you know him on Facebook as Jason Kovalik, but actually his superhero name is Ensign Beard Fasse. Jason, how are you this lovely post-Christmas day?
Outstanding.
Excellent. Did you get any good presents?
I got a TNG onesie.
Oh, wow. I hear you have there's some trouble with going number 2 in that thing.
There is. Luckily, I'm number
1.
You're number 1.
This is the show.
Indeed. Okay, who do we have next? Our resident contrarian, and when we do Star Trek Picard, she is our lovely mascot Index, but in real life, she's Sun Seal. Sun, how are you doing this week? How was your Christmas?
Hi, everybody.
Tell everyone what you got for Christmas that we're all very excited about.
Well, it's not quite ready yet, but next week I should be here with a complete and new product. So yay!
And by product, of course, you mean computer, right?
I hope so.
Okay, because
if I open that box and it's nothing but squirrels, I'm going to be pretty mad.
And I think the squirrels will probably be pretty upset themselves.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, we're looking forward to that. Congratulations on, I think, the best Christmas present one could have expected in a year like this. So
definitely.
So we'll welcome your new computer next week. Let's see, who else do we have? We have a guest with us this week, and he is normally with us kvetching from the sidelines, but we decided to invite Greg Kirkley to join us and with his enchanted hammer to spout his opinions with us live, actually in the show instead of through the comments. Greg, welcome to the Super Geeks podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How was your Christmas?
It went really well. It was my son's second Christmas technically after he turned a year old, so everything went pretty well.
Excellent. Well, we're looking forward to maybe making you our resident contrarian this week. Who knows? The world could go. The world could go topsy turvy. And
I mean,
indeed,
look at it. Thor left Mjolnir in the way. I had to move it. So
Very true. Very true. Okay, and let's see. I think that's everyone. Yes, that we have this week.
That's everybody this week.
There is no Sean this week. The pantsless one. Apparently, they did something to his throat at the dentist's office, and so he is both pantsless and Super Geeks podcastless.
And he can't talk.
Yeah, that's another way of putting it. Yes.
Yeah.
So no Sean.
His wife any Christmas.
Yeah. We should talk about what your wife gave you for Christmas this year, Jason.
A bar of Dr. Sasquatch soap.
Not just one bar.
A whole box of bars.
Yes. I wonder what she means about that.
And what does it say on the box?
Jason.
I don't know.
It says something about being a man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like a chain.
Well, I don't have the box in front of me. I got to go find the picture I messaged you guys. To.
Jason, you need to show everybody what was built earlier that you reconstructed.
Oh, the Razor Crest. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. That's been a running. Well, I wouldn't want to say joke. Well, for me, it's been a joke, but for Jason takes this very seriously. The fact that he yes.
Boom.
Oh.
No more Razor Crest yet.
It's not really a running joke as much as it is a running grave, isn't it?
Or a running tragedy.
Oh.
But you got it for Silas, your son, right?
I did, and we built it yesterday.
You built it yesterday. I saw pictures. They look lovely. Even though it's not to scale, it looks pretty good. It even has a little baby Yoda in it, which I was very excited about.
It does.
And it's intact, which how long is that going to be the case?
Forever.
not 2 seasons?
No, because when his Legos break, if he doesn't fix them, I stop buying him Legos.
Oh.
Like what you got to do is like, I don't know if you guys have seen this wonderful clip from one of Conan's Star Wars themed episodes, but there's this producer on the show who is a mega fan of Star Wars, and they had Harrison Ford guest star. And after he asked Harrison Ford this like very, very silly, like take too seriously fan question, he asked Harrison Ford to sign a Lego Millennium Falcon that he himself had built. And Harrison Ford's like, sure, why not? And he hands it over. He said, like, he's talking about how the Millennium Falcon set that he has here is like worth a lot of money. Had he made it in like 2010 or something, and was like they're going for like $5,000 on eBay. And as soon as Harrison Ford has it, he's like, whoa! And it just completely leaves his hands, crashes onto the ground, and it's just absolutely perfect. And you do realize, Jason, if I ever see that thing, I might actually do it. Just to, like, I may...
You might not survive that, Travis.
I may have to, like, give Lane to Carlos for safekeeping, but...
I'll take very good care of him. I promise.
Carlos is going to be Lane by Godfather. Yeah, there we go.
Denver to Salt Lake City.
Oh, good. He's looking at the flight plan now.
Yeah, you're only 8 hours away, dude. Don't make me drive there.
Jason's lightsaber may not be able to stab anything quite yet, but I'm sure he'll find a way.
Oh, I'm sure he would too.
He'll brandish it no matter what.
I spent 12 years in North Carolina. I'm just saying,
Jason,
I've got firearms.
I've got
Camera's 20
firearms.
pounds.
Are you threatening me?
I mean,
And you are our resident Florida man, aren't you?
yeah.
I am a resident Florida man. So
If things come to worse, you could just beat him with a fish.
That's what she said.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, shall we talk Star Trek, folks? Yeah, send complaints, of course, at realsupergeeks.com. Is that a real address, Stalwart Justin?
I don't know if Sean ever got around to actually making the address. I need to get on to him about that.
I wonder, like, there may be like 100 different complaint emails. It's just sitting
100?
in that.
Only 100?
Well,
there's probably more, considering the amount of viewers that's dropped off. But yeah.
Okay, well, so this was episode 11 of Star Trek Discovery. with only I think the second episode in Discovery's run that was named after one of the characters. This one, of course, Sukal, whom we meet during the course of the episode. So we find out the origin of the burn, kind of. And we find out that there is still someone alive in that ship in the, what is it called? The Nebula. I was going to say Viridian, but it's not.
It's not the Murtara Nebula. We know that.
No, it starts with a V. We'll call it the vagina.
Hey!
Oh, almost got it.
Tell me what to do, Travis. Tell me what to do, Travis. Damn it. Okay, anyway, the V Nebula. And it turns out to be another Kelpian. And so they pop on over there, thanks to the spore drive, and discover that that is one nasty nebula. You'd think that after 1,000 years, Starfleet would have figured out the technology necessary to get through a nebula okay, but apparently that's still a daunting task, even in the 32nd century. So they managed to get an away team down there. And then, of course, we have the unexpected appearance of the big bad of the season, Osira of the, I was going to say the enchanted chain, the emerald chain. And it was because you got Mjolnir with us this week, Greg, so yeah. I'm blaming you. And then things take a turn for the bizarre as they transport down to the planet into the what's left of the ship, Sukal's ship, and discover that it becomes
an MC Escher painting.
Yes, it becomes an MC Escher painting. It becomes a whole lot of weird, basically, including changing the three people who go down, who are Saru, Burnham, and Dr. Culber, into different aliens other than whom they are. And so we get to see Doug Jones for the first time on Star Trek Discovery as a human himself. I
love his first line.
Is that really how he looks? Because
he doesn't have that hair. He was wearing a wig because he shaves his head for all the Saru prosthetics.
Makeup, yeah.
So they just put a wig on top.
Well, I say this because, like, seeing Doug Jones in like promo shots without prosthetics on, he doesn't look that wrinkly.
Well, that's good lighting for you.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay, the Kelpian was dried out.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a lot going on in this episode. In addition to just the frankly weird visuals, but kind of cool, I think. We get to see the Emerald Chain show up out of nowhere and without a problem whatsoever, apparently, completely take over a 32nd century starship. So I have some words to say about that. But let's go around the table first and find out everyone's general reaction to this week's episode. We will start with our guest, Greg Kirkley. Greg, what did you think of Sukal?
All right. Overall, I know I bashed Discovery a lot, but this has actually turned out to be an episode I really liked.
And we let you on the show this week? Stalwart Justin, how did that happen?
I mean, this is exactly why you guys let him on the show.
Yeah, we wanted him to come and argue with us.
Oh, don't know. I'll get there.
Oh, okay. Then
it started off great. I was like, okay, it's a holodeck program. It's protecting him, and he is a kid. I appreciated that storyline. And I'm going to say this off the bat. I need more Captain Tilly in my life. She was not a good first officer, but good Lord, the woman is a captain. The way she dealt with Osira.
Well, we did get a hint of that way back in season 1 when she was impersonating Captain Killy.
Yeah, but she was still nervous. Like this time, the nerves were gone.
Oh no, they were there. She just had the little nub on the captain's chair to reassure her.
Yeah, I think we all got burr up our ass this week.
But Osiris like, Osiris says, I'm gonna take your ship until he's like, no, bitch. So, my only qualm is the burn. They built up the burn. I'm like, okay, we're gonna get a damn good reason off of a planet that's full of dilithium, and it's a single biological being that he gets scared and he caused the burn. I'm like, Oh, it lost me at that point. I was like,
Well, we don't exactly know yet what the connection is between Sukal and the bird. I mean, we do know there is some sort of emotional thing, but we don't know what the mechanics of it are. But I see where you're coming from on that one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I did like this episode. I really, really like this episode. So I'm looking forward to the last two to see how they deal with Osiris coming to the Federation and going from there. Indeed.
All right. Well, let's go to the maybe she will be our contrarian this week. Sunseal, what did you think of this week's episode?
They stole Future Imperfect and remade it. Like, I agree with Sean, even though he's not here. So,
I'm sure he's going to.
Future Imperfect. Like, the entire fucking episode was a holodeck program around an alien and protecting an alien for people to come and rescue said alien. And I'm like,
well,
I mean, it was nice. It's nice.
You know, there are no new stories.
But then they made the alien like the first Star Trek version of an X-Men mutant. Like, isn't there an X-Men mutant that does the exact same thing as Sukal, as Scream and all the electronics?
Oh yeah, her name was like Sonic or something from Last Stand. Yeah,
it's like, holy shit! This is the Steal Everything episode, isn't it? Like,
well, it is Star Trek.
Even Osiris suddenly became this big, bad, menacing thing with a ship that literally has tentacles now.
Yeah,
like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah, and apparently they can go right through shields. And apparently their transporters can go right through shields. What's going on here?
They stole those tentacles from Star Trek Picard. If you notice, the flowers were there too.
First of all, they established that the Discovery shields were down. They were, if I remember correctly, something to do with the spore drive recharging and like
the fact that they were down to 50%. They were down to 50%. Yeah.
Yeah, they had
because they were trying to get them up to a certain percentage level before they could go back in. But they had shields up. I mean, I think.
I don't believe they were up.
Didn't Kelly call for a red
order to jump? Yes. Because the whole point was to get the shields back up so they could jump back into the nebula.
Right.
So the shields did come up to 100% before she commanded Stamets to jump. And that's when they all beamed in suddenly for no reason. Almost like, she had the shield codes for all the ships or something.
I don't
and they knew the layout of the ship.
Yeah, they knew exactly where the spore drive was. Like, really? How?
They also know exactly, what to do about Stamets and how to control them. So that tells me that there's something else going on here.
I'm sorry. I don't agree with this criticism. Like, I do believe that the shields were down for this. Like, I remember something about the shields being down.
I do too.
When it comes to teleporting, these are personal transports that have been shown to teleport pretty much anywhere. Like when we were at when episode People of Earth, I believe it was. I mean, when the Earth's Defense Force was staring down the Discovery, they transported all over the ship. That's what happened here. I mean,
that was against 23rd century shields.
Well, yeah, I get that. But I mean, if we're gonna be like, oh, they just teleported right where the spore drive was. I mean, like, all you got to do is like, all right, they showed teleporting all over the ship here. Saying like, oh, it doesn't make sense that they didn't know where the spore drive was feels kind of redundant when they're teleporting everywhere around the ship. So
yes, but they happen to teleport the right people with the little mind control doodad into that place as opposed to somewhere.
And they knew exactly what they were supposed to use.
All right, maybe I can get behind that, but it doesn't bother me. It doesn't.
It's just the whole thing is just it's a little too convenient for me to believe.
It's a little too convenient.
Indeed. Okay, so let's hear.
Let's
put a pin on that. We'll come back to that because I want to finish the round robin. Let's hear next from Ensign Beard Fasse.
I don't like. I'm not a fan of cliffhangers when the ship's been taken over. what was it? I mean, it wasn't last week, but now I'm all angsty and I'm all like, what's going to happen? And then you see the previews and you see what's happening, and like, I don't know. It's just not a way for me to go about my week is to deal with like pondering of what's happening. I'm getting like flashback. I'm getting like, what do you call it? PTSD is hitting me from Best of Both Worlds.
Jesus.
Well, to be fair, Best of Both Worlds is. I mean, there are lots of episodes in which the ship gets taken over way too easily, and this is just the latest in a long line of
absolutely
of that.
Absolutely.
And,
I mean, like if I'm going to criticize this, and I've got to criticize the episode where Deep Space Nine gets taken over, and that was like 2 weeks in a row. It got taken over by different people. The one time
It was.
The one time by the people who were doing Dax and who were trying to, take the Dax. I think the next one they were taking over too. I like TNG's and her ship getting taken over because it was at the Rambler Ray. The ship was kind of everyone was off the ship primarily, and they weren't trying to steal the Enterprise as much as they were trying to steal the Trilithium. So that was a little bit more believable for me. And then the Voyager one, the one with the Kazon, like that was awful too.
Yeah, I don't think it ever works very well, honestly. Okay, did we get everyone?
Miss me.
Right, and technically we didn't get Travis and Lane either. So you go next, Justin, and then
Okay.
Travis, you and Lane will bring up the group.
I could joke about that, but I won't at the same time. But yeah, so like the whole reason they were outside, they didn't have shields was because I guess the Nebula kicked the shields down, and they had to wait for it to recharge, and she was hesitant.
Well,
to
you're
jump
supposed to tell us
away.
what you thought of the episode. We'll get.
I mean, I thought it was okay, but it just seemed, I don't know, there's something else going on here, and it's bothering me. I'm with Jason on this. I hate ship getting takeover cliffhangers like this because it brings back Best of Both Worlds PTSD. Because I remember watching that episode when that happened. But yeah, we'll just have to see what happens with the rest of the story. I got a bad feeling about what's going to happen to one of the characters.
Okay, well, you'll get to expound on your your theory in a little bit. Okay, Travis and Lane.
I swear to God, Jason, if we lose Saru this season, I'm going to kick your ass.
Well, I'm starting to think about it too. So Jason's not the only one.
I think that's a ridiculous. I think that's a ridiculous notion. Saru is way too popular.
I mean,
that's like saying let's get rid of Data or Spock.
Well, look how many times Spock died.
And guess what always happened? He always came back.
But we've learned this week that Saru isn't a good captain.
Well, we'll get to that as well because I'm not sure this week proves that point. But go ahead, Travis.
Anyway, like, I think the episode was fine. Like, sorry, I am dealing with multiple things right now. I thought the episode, it was like, I enjoyed it. It was very fun to see the characters in different prosthetics, and I thought that Captain Tilly was great. And heck, like, I'll be honest that the antagonist is actually kind of giving me a reason to care right now. And
you mean you like the antagonist?
Yes, the antagonist is giving off a much better impression than when we first saw her, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I know that there are some
question. Would she make your list of 30 or anywhere in your list of 30 that you're doing on the Star Trek Facebook group?
Too early to tell.
Too early to tell. Okay. Proceed.
Certain I can get behind some of the criticisms here. They don't personally bother me too much because I'm casual that way, but I don't really see this as the stealing everything episode, I guess. I don't really, I don't know. Come back to me.
Okay, we have plenty to talk about, so just jump in. Okay, so which of these do you want to tackle first? We've got bad Captain Saru. We've got too easily taken over Starship. We've got, the big bad is she is big a bad or a bigger bad than we thought she was 2 weeks ago. Which would you like to tackle first, Son?
Let's tackle the Emerald Chain lady, because she has way too much information that should really not have left Starfleet Central Command, honestly. Like where the Discovery is going. The fact that she already had the information on what caused the burn, where it was, and that the Discovery was going there. Come on, that's...
Well, I don't think... Well, I agree with your overall point. I don't think she had knowledge of the burn. Because remember, there was that line that Book says that they monitored where the Discovery was going, and so they just basically were going wherever Discovery was, not necessarily knowing that it was going to be, the Vagina Nebula. What the hell is the name of that nebula?
It doesn't matter what it was. It's now the Vagina Nebula.
It's now the Vagina Nebula. Thank you. Send complaints. Send your complaints.
Oh, Carlos.
I could have sworn she mentioned something specifically about the burn.
Well, I think your overall point is correct. She knew way more than she should have known. I just think in that one, Verubin. Thank you, David Sturm. Think Vera Rubin. Okay.
Well, that brings it back to a vagina, right?
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Works for me. Okay, so proceed.
So she's got way too much information. She's got, she's got to have plans for the Discovery itself, for her officers to be able to beam onto. I don't care if you've got a comm badge that can beam anywhere. You have to, for you to beam to that location, you have to have seen it in your own thing. So she's got to have some kind of plans for the Discovery. For those guys to literally beam into the little fucking spore chamber.
And know exactly how to control it.
Yes.
Book is working for her.
Unlike, well, that would be one. Who gave that theory? Is that you, Greg?
Me.
That actually would be a doable theory. The other one is that she actually has a mole at Starfleet headquarters.
Where's the Andorian at? Did he depart the ship?
I don't think he's still on the ship. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
But that would be a plausible one as well.
I'm blaming the cat.
Hold on, Carlos. It's the Verubin Nebula.
Yes, we just got that from David Sturm.
You know what, David? Taking my job.
See, when you're actually on the show, it's different, isn't it, Greg?
A little bit.
A little bit. Rin, yes. Rin is we should have David on the show next because he knows everything.
Now, David brought this up. It's now the Grudges left Paul had issues. So
Yep.
Maybe the cat's a spy.
Maybe. Okay, so where does that leave us? Who else wants to go ahead, son?
I don't discount the Admiral passing on the information either.
Actually, I thought maybe that's the case as well. And if they do, even though I hate the fact that he turns into a badmiral all of a sudden, because I like the fact he was actually a stern but good admiral.
He's been playing both sides the whole time.
No, I don't buy that, because at the end of the day, Discovery falling in the hands of the Emerald Chain is the worst thing for him, no matter how bad he may be.
Yeah,
I just don't buy it. I think that's that. I mean, I get
he's
it.
working for him.
No, I mean, if
he is.
I mean, if I was that's the step too far, for false flag type work. No matter what, if she gets Discovery, it's game over for the Federation and Starfleet.
Well, maybe. I mean, I hope you're right, Jason. I would hate for him to turn out to be a badmiral. But at least it's more plausible than what we've seen so far.
He's a badmiral in that he kept Saru as captain of Discovery.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. Okay.
fur up your ass on that one, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, I've been proven right.
See,
Well,
that's
okay, well-
another thing that pissed me off. Why the hell? Like, it's a little rivet. That's what it is. It's just a little like fucking rivet, like welding metal pieces together.
Well, I'm sorry. What are you talking about?
The fur.
Oh,
Jason and Justin, they keep talking about the little. It's a back
The
and
burr.
forth, the little thing under the chair.
yeah.
Fucking rivet.
All
So
right,
I'm
so-
not talking about the Burr. I'm talking about how Saru's just
Yeah.
a lousy captain, and he's ruled by like
all
whatever.
right, sorry, I hate to interrupt. I really want to stay and talk. However, something going on right here just demands my attention right
Yeah,
now. I'm
go
gonna
ahead and
have
take
to-
care of it. Go
You
ahead and
guys
take care
have
of
a great night. I am sorry to bow out as early as I am.
it. All right.
Hopefully next week.
Brother, it's okay. All right.
Take care, Travis.
Take it easy, guys.
All right.
Be safe, sweetie.
Bye, Lane.
Bye, Lane. You'll
Okay.
be missed.
Okay, so all right, so let's go ahead and jump in on the whole Saru bad captain thing. Lay out your theory as of this week, Jason.
So we have a situation where we're continuing to see Saru emotionally compromised. And so we've seen it with Kelpians. Anytime Kelpians are involved, he just loses his damn mind, and he's got to, I mean, this is beyond the pale of what we've seen with other Trek captains. I mean, like, you don't have Kirk losing his shit anytime he runs across a random human in the galaxy or whatnot. And I know he's in this weird situation where he left his homeworld, and but at the same time, like,
What did he do specifically wrong this week, though?
he went on the away mission.
He beamed down.
Well,
Yeah, he should not have done that.
His job is captain, and the only reason he beamed down is because it was a Kelpian. If it was a human, if it was an Andorian, if it was a Romulan, if it was a Klingon, if it was any other race, Saru would have stayed on the captain. The only reason
while you were correct about that, I believe. I don't
He's
think
also
that
wrong
it's.
about that.
He's also what?
He's also wrong about that too.
Wrong about what?
This is pre-Kirk Trek. This is a pre-Kirk Trek.
Technically,
guy.
yes. Yeah, but that's not his point. Is meta in terms of Kirk happened in the 60s, and we're now in the 21st century. So
And then they're in the 32nd century, so Saru has been briefed that captains do not go on away missions versus in the 23rd century.
well, okay, but we don't know what the status of that is in the 32nd century. That was something that was the case in the 24th, and we found that actually didn't apply that much in the 24th either. Picard went on plenty of away missions. I think I'm going to rise to Saru's defense in this one, because him going on the away mission was not unreasonable. They didn't know that they were going to be under attack by the Emerald Chain. They didn't have any reason to believe that, other than the nebula and its physical dangers, that the ship would be in any kind of danger.
It was perfectly reasonable for him to go in the first place, because it was to Saru, and not just Saru, but to the entire Federation. This was literally a diplomatic mission of sorts.
Yeah, they said it was like a first contact.
He's another Kelpian.
Yeah.
Period.
So I think it makes more sense for him to go than not.
I don't know. I think he
Is it sorry, Jason? I'm just saying. When Saru beamed down, is it a coincidence that when they beam down, all of a sudden the Emerald Chain shows up? That's when they get that fake Federation signal.
Exactly.
Well, it was that they saw the signal coming in. They could have been on the way the whole damn time, and just they showed up on scanners then.
Well, they would have had to have exited, the transwarp conduit or whatever, and they knew wherever they were going,
Yeah,
the Discovery was going to be there, so they needed to, pose as a Federation ship as soon as they were going to be, visible on their sensors. So I don't find that unreasonable.
I don't find it a coincidence either.
Well, again, their ease in taking the ship does argue for there being some kind of a mole. And I think David Sturm also mentions, can you put that back up, Justin? David's question about having seen Federation fighting the Emerald Chain, or has it just always been Discovery?
I think it's been Discovery this whole time.
Yeah, it has. Although we haven't seen it, but they've said that they've had confrontations.
The only time we've seen a fight with the Emerald Chain has been when Book's ship blasted the hell out of her Osiris ship.
Yeah,
that's the only time.
Yeah.
The itty tiny little ship.
We haven't seen the Discovery fight that ship. We've not seen any of the Federation fight that ship.
Okay, so what's the theory here then? Is this just adding to the whole, this is an inside job between the Emerald Chain and Starfleet?
Honestly,
and do you guys find that persuasive? I mean, what do you think?
I find the argument persuasive. I'm leaning towards it's got to be Book as a double agent, because every time it's like the Emerald Chain shows up and he's on the bridge, and then he's like, "Hey, I'll go down and get the away team," and then all of a sudden the ship is taken over. It's like he's getting away, and they take the ship, and he's just like all nonchalant about it.
Well, that could be coincidental, but at the same time, it also would be the thing to do in that kind of a situation. So I'm not sure that that's enough evidence for me.
No, wait, I'm on board with this for a completely different reason.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, I think I know your reason.
It's the third season where, fuck you, Michael Burnham, your love interest is a bad guy.
I see your point.
I wasn't going there, but that's a stinger.
that is, and it just makes Son giggle because of my feelings for Michael Burnham.
Damn, Son.
Yeah, you could be right, Son. You could be right. I hope you're not, because I actually really like Book, but well,
I mean, it's the theme of the show, man. I mean, look what's happening.
It's the worst thing. I actually like Book better than I like Burnham. I don't want it to be true either.
Okay,
maybe it's not Book. Maybe it's Grudge.
Maybe it is Grudge.
I see now. That's what I'm thinking. Well, I mean, favoring they made it a point to mention Grudge's left paw in the episode.
Her thyroid condition.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, we don't know that it's not necessarily an Earth cat, although world domination is bred into them.
Flurkin. She's a Flurkin.
She's a Flurkin, right? So I would actually see Grudge as a potential mole as well, because she gets everywhere.
Wouldn't it be fun? Wouldn't it be fun if Lorca showed up and was helping?
No, it would not be fun.
That would suck.
That would suck.
That would suck.
It really, really would suck.
Oh no.
Thank you, Ensign Passe. You are exactly right. For you folks at home who didn't get that, he was going fan wank, fan wank, fan wank, fan wank.
Well, I mean, for the George, we did have Giorgio go back and fuck with the timeline, so that Lorca didn't die.
That is not the same thing, dude.
Yeah,
I do think I do have a weird out theory though.
Okay, go for it.
The Discovery A gets destroyed. Somehow Giorgio finds out about it and works and hides Discovery in the alternate timeline that's been created into the nebula, where the company will pick it up.
Short track.
Yep.
That's a stretch.
It's a bit of a stretch, but it's not unreasonable.
Yep.
Did everyone weigh in on the Saru bad captain this week? We should do this every week.
I haven't.
Jason.
I haven't.
Okay, weigh in, Greg.
Okay. Captain Tilly is a better captain than Captain Saru.
Yes.
No, because at least Saru. How long was Saru captain? Tilly was captain for what? 34 minutes, and the ship was taken over.
Exactly. I'm with Ensign Beard Fasse on this one.
Okay, that's fair. But Saru is too emotionally compromised. Tilly sat there nervous, yes, but did not show emotional compromise.
True.
She flat out told Osiris, "You're going to have to kill me to get me out of this chair." Saru would have gotten up immediately.
She got Tilly out of the chair.
She had to yank her out of the chair.
Well, she yanked her out. And gotten blood all over the chair? Come on, Jason.
I'm just saying, if this was Kirk, he'd be all computer 000 destruct 0. Now, bitch, get off my ship or we're all gonna die.
Well, you know what though? How many times have we seen the auto destruct engaged and have whoever the villain of the week was figure out a way to stop the clock? I mean,
yeah, because that
would have happened here.
Spies probably had something to stop the auto destruct. I mean, she knows Federation ships have that option, obviously, by now. So, yeah.
Has nobody ever thought to just take a phaser to the warp core? I know Discovery still has one.
Although you notice that they started like deactivating it as soon as the Su'Kal induced burn type of thing started.
I'll change this from Saru being a bad captain to being a very heavily green, inexperienced captain who needs to be taken off Discovery and trained properly. And they need to put somebody from the current Federation in charge of Discovery until he's ready.
I don't think he's going to survive that long.
Oh.
Okay, are we going to dive right into this? I mean, hang on for just 1 second, Justin, because I think we should air your theory here. But I want to hear from everybody else where they stand on Saru, good captain, bad captain, as of this week. Son?
Honestly, I don't know at this point. I think everything that Saru has done has been him trying to find a woven balance between what he has seen and experienced in a captain with everybody from before TOS and what all of the new regulations are in the century that he is in now. Mm-hmm. And it's not something that really meshes well together because there's like years and years and years and years of we found out this didn't work, so we changed it. And this didn't work, so we changed it. And yet he's experienced a life in which those captains did do those things, and they worked. And so the calls that he is making, while still green and definitely mistakes right now, Saru has seen them work before, and he's using them because he's seen them work before.
So the Sun jury is still out, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Jason, we know where you stand. Justin.
Well, Saru this week, he was doing all right, and then this week it looks like everything they built up for him just kind of went out the window because he had his judgment call on the surface. Where Burnham even called him out for being emotionally compromised. He should never went down there in the first place. He's made some questionable calls, and I got my theories of what's about to happen. We'll get into that here in a minute. Now, everybody's going to like it. I'll probably get some complaints, but it's nagging feeling in the back of my head that I get, and it's just, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll get
David
to that
made a
in
good
just
comment.
1 second. What did David say?
Good comment on the last one.
Saru's a reflection of Prime Giorgio as seen in the first 2 episodes.
You can go get the sheet and get on.
Well, maybe a minor, because he really didn't have to train to be first officer up until Lorca come around. So he was training. He had to.
Well, but she still served as like his example of the best kind of captain under which he served.
Because he was second, like in the first episode, he was like second officer, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was second officer. Second officer. So that's pretty close. Well, here's where I stand on it. I will not say Saru is a good captain yet, but I think he's still far from being a bad captain. He's still certainly a green captain. I also think that it's a rush to judgment, looking backwards to say that that he shouldn't have gone down to that planet. I think there's every reason for him to have gone down there, particularly given what we find out as the episode develops, where his being a Kelpian is probably the key to being able to figure out what to do with Su'Kal and to get him out of there and to find out what happened with the burn. So I don't think without a Kelpian down there, you would have gotten as far. The landing party wouldn't have gotten as far as they did. So I think it was probably smart for him to go.
I think that's true because Burnham tried in imitating the program as like the social interaction, but then Saru got through to him a little bit better when he started singing.
Well, yeah, because that lullaby is something that's so basic, like the kid would have known it from the time he was a baby. So that gets in under some of the defense fields that he built up mentally around dealing with the.
Let's also remember that it's only Saru that would be able to enunciate such a lullaby properly in the first place. Because if you noticed, that lullaby was more than just the tones being sung. There were also a bunch of clicks as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so it looks like we are Jason and Justin for bad. Sun is not yet decided. Greg, where did you stand on this? Green?
I'm saying he needs green and training. He needs training.
Green and needs training. And I think that I'm closer to Greg on that one as well. Okay, so let's move into talking a little bit about Saru more directly. And we'll start off with Justin's rather bizarre theory, which he will now elucidate.
Okay, well, you don't make your token alien captain look like an
By
idiot.
the way, Justin, if I can interrupt you for just a second, it does not help your case to have Cybok as your avatar at this moment. I'm just saying.
Doesn't help at all.
Go ahead.
Okay, you don't make your token alien captain look like a complete idiot and then turn him human unless he's going to depart the show.
I don't see the logic there.
Hold on. Logic coming. We got them grooming Tilly to be captain. We have Giorgio, before she stepped through the gateway in the last episode, tell Michael you can be a captain. You are a captain.
No, Captain Brown. No.
So I hope not. I don't see that. I don't see her being captain. I see her maybe being first officer to Tilly.
No.
No.
Burnham will be captain of this ship before the end of the series, but Saru is not leaving the show. He's not dying. The fact that Doug Jones shaved his head for season 4 tells me he's in enough season 4 episodes.
Flashbacks.
But he's in enough season 4 episodes that shaving his head is easier for the makeup artist than him continuing with hair. So that means he's a series regular.
He is a series regular. Yeah. Like what reason, Justin, would they have for getting rid of possibly the most popular character
to bring him back? To bring him back. I mean, this is Star Trek. How many times have a character died only to come back?
The search.
True.
For Saru.
Oh, no.
I mean, they could do some timey-wimey thing. I mean, time travel is going to come into play here eventually.
Only if we get Christopher Lloyd back as a Klingon.
Hell yeah, I'll do that.
God, no.
I'll go with that.
I don't see the point in it.
Okay, we're coming up on the 800th episode of Star Trek. They are going to do something fucking epic.
But 800 is next week, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. 800. Oh. They're going to be doing something epic.
They're going to do something so epic, the season finale is going to feel moot.
Unless it leads into it.
I think in other instances where they've crossed, 100 marks, those episodes haven't necessarily been super epic.
I agree with Thomas on this one.
Thomas makes a good point.
Yes, he does.
But I actually no. Sorry, I have to debate Thomas's point. They could not contact Discovery. They couldn't contact Discovery. The second they beamed down, Discovery was out of the nebula. The only way they ever contacted is when Book took his ship back in and was able to contact them. So when they jumped out, they had no communication. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there wouldn't have been any way.
So then Saru doesn't go, right? I mean, again, you got to understand that the Discovery is the most strategically valuable item in the Federation's arsenal, and probably, with
telling us that
with possibly the most strategic ship in the galaxy. Mm-hmm. And so for the captain to leave and beam down is negligent at best.
I don't see the logic in that, Jason. There was no reason for them to think they were going to be attacked from without. There just wasn't.
Especially after the Admiral just told them that all of the Emerald Chains seemed to be attacking the Kelpian homeworld.
Right.
And that's where the entire Federation was going.
And we know that the being that was on, on the ship on that planet was Kelpian. It makes sense for the Kelpian captain to go down.
I don't know. It's, again, if it was any other race, it would have made sense for the captain to stay on the ship. We're just giving it a Saru sentimentality.
David.
No, I don't think so. I think it makes absolute logical sense for Kelpian to be sent down there.
If it was any other race, you would want to send someone of that race.
Of that race, exactly. If it had been an Andorian, you would send an Andorian down.
Okay, let's try this one then. It was irresponsible for him to beam down without making contact first. You don't know who's down. They know there's a single life sign. Yes, they know it's a Kelpian. Yes, but
didn't they hail or something? I thought they did.
They got no response back. There was
right.
No communication.
So how else are they supposed to get contact, Greg?
So,
if they don't respond to a hail, there's no other choice but to go down there.
Don't send your captain down to an unknown situation.
Right.
It is not an unknown situation. It's a situation in which you know there is a Kelpian down there.
You send your first officer and an away team first to assess the situation, but then no communication. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that makes any sense, particularly on a television show. But yeah, I just don't see why. They knew, given the situation with the nebula, that they weren't going to have a lot of chances to get down there, retrieve the guy, and get out. So it's not like they could just send a team down and then take the team back and then send another team down, and they didn't know that.
How many times has an away team beamed down in the Next Generation with no contact from whatever other side? I mean,
lots of times.
They've done this before.
But never with the captain.
Oh,
Picard has gone on away missions, but like when they went to rescue in Borg, they went to rescue the drone. Picard didn't go on that away mission. If they make contact, Picard is gone. It's usually Riker who's going if they don't make contact.
Right. But again, I'd like to point out this is pre-toss.
No, it's not. It's post-toss. It's, and the captain...
We're dealing with a captain and a crew that come...
No, but it's a protocol. I agree with Jason on this one.
Listen. He is the captain of the most... Of the most strategic asset Starfleet has. Right? The fact that...
Sure, and they've sent them on a mission to find out about... This isn't just a regular rescue mission. This is the source of the burn.
I agree, but Saru should have held back and jump. They should have fixed the shield.
Tell me why, given the fact that this is a precarious situation and there's a Kelpian, why you wouldn't send your only Kelpian officer down there?
Because your only Kelpian is the commander of your ship.
So there's no, as far as they knew at that point, there was no danger to the ship.
There was a freaking radiation storm going on in there to your captain. Like you don't send your captain. You don't put your captain in harm's way when you don't need to.
You do when the burn is when you're dealing with the source of the burn, dude.
Then you send your first officer down.
This is a high value mission.
I just don't see it. I think this is if this was any other species.
But that's the point.
No. Saru went down there because of his emotion, not because he thought he could be an asset. He went down there because of his sentimentality towards Kelpians.
Yes,
that's why.
I don't think you can detach those two.
No, I
think
go
hand in hand.
I think Saru is emotionally compromised as a captain.
You assume that I don't think that's true. He was emotionally compromised once he was down there, but he wasn't emotionally compromised in making that decision to go down.
No, I think he was, and I think they called him on it on the ship. Like it was like, why is Saru going? And I mean, they were all kind of shocked that Saru was going, and he was.
I have to make the statement that I think they've kind of been trying to paint this thing as a Saru is compromised all season, when Saru has kind of been making these choices out of his own experience of seeing Giorgio and Lorca work as captains.
And Pike.
But Saru is, again, looking to...
You guys are building this thing of he is emotionally compromised.
No, he's not a good... I'm just claiming he's not a good captain. I mean, again, like he has
But
no
you're also
trust
claiming he was emotionally compromised before he even got down there.
in this episode when he found. I mean, you saw it in last week's episode when
It's not even this week's episode. The entire season they've been trying to paint him this way. Like the back before when they were finding out that it was a Kelpian ship, but he literally says to Tilly, "Okay, cool. Let's find out more about this before we take it to the Admiral, because all that we know right now is that it's a Kelpian ship." Okay, cool. That makes sense, and yet the captain yet the Admiral seems to go after him as if he's emotionally compromised already. That was a weird thing to me in that episode.
No, I think he was, again, like when you're in a military setting, when you have intelligence, you raise it to your superior officers. Saru at that point had intelligence. He knew something about the burn that his commanding officer didn't know, and he didn't take it to him. So yeah, he should have been dressed down for that. It's just like he got dressed down with the Michael Burnham side mission, that caused her to get pulled as being first officer. Saru is trying to have a facade of captaincy, but and I get it. He's a popular character. He's one of the more complex characters on Discovery, and I get why people like him. I really like Saru too. I really do. I just don't think he's a good captain.
Okay, well, I guess we will find out. Here's a question. I mean, I think we can leave things lie where they are. I think we all laid out our various arguments as well as each of us can. But I'm wondering, are you all confident that this issue, one way or another, is going to get resolved before the end of this season?
It has to be.
It has to be.
They're
They
gonna
could
have
ignore
to-
it. They could ignore it. They've
Which
done that
issue?
kind of thing before.
Yeah, but it's Discovery. They're trying to change how they set things up. Because I mean, yeah, we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but they're setting up for either A, Burnham to be back in the command ring, or B, Tilly to be the permanent commander. I mean, they're setting this up. I don't know. We'll see.
Saru's promoted to Admiral. Tilly is captain. Burnham's back to first officer.
Now,
Ridiculous, all of those.
I could see Saru getting transferred, maybe not promoted, but transferred to work at headquarters to help Vance rebuild the Federation fleet.
Get a desk job, yeah.
Yeah.
Not
And
gonna
then-
happen.
Mm.
You guys, think about this character.
Okay, so wait a minute. The first thing, before anything, at this point, the first thing they have to do is kill Sakal.
Yeah, they're gonna have to. He's gonna have to die. Either
Why do you think that? Why do you think
Because, okay, one, he's still a child. Like,
Yes.
mentally, he's still a child. Okay, he's a Kelpian. And he has this ability to fucking mutant scream all dilithium into exploding, okay? He has to die before he goes through Vahari, period. He has to.
I think Saru kills him.
He has to be killed or he will do something even worse going through Vahari. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I mean, just because he's in we don't even know if it's him being in the nebula that's causing this. If they take him out of the nebula and he starts going nuts, there's no telling what he could do. He has to die. This kid is going to have to die.
I agree with David. I think Vance is going to bite the big one.
Maybe I could see that happening.
But isn't he
he-
like the head admiral?
Yeah, but he's
Yeah.
probably not the only admiral. But I could see that happening. I think there is some reason to believe. Who was it who had that theory? Was it you, Jason? That Vance could end up being the guy behind the scenes, working with the Emerald Chain.
It would make sense.
So so that's possible.
I like it better than Grudge being a changeling.
Well, it wouldn't be a changeling, but Grudge can be any kind of.
Well, remember, we had that back and forth quite a while ago about the glasses guy not answering Giorgio's question about who was in charge of Starfleet.
Mhm.
Cronenberg.
It may not-
Section 31.
Well, maybe. But at that point, then Vance wouldn't be the guy interacting with the Emerald Chain. It would be it would be Glasses Guy.
I don't see that happening.
I definitely see Cromwell as Section 31. But I don't think they're fully in control. But I think they have a lot more power than normally.
Well, no. So here's I don't know. Maybe this is just some wild theory, but I look at this and say that the Section 31-ish guy has seen the sudden appearance of something that shouldn't exist in their timeline that is a miraculous gift to everything that the Federation stands for, and he has everything to lose in the control that he has of Starfleet by this one ship. Would he not want to hand it over to his enemy and then at the same time destroy it and the Emerald Chain in one fell swoop?
Wait, who's his enemy in this scenario?
The Discovery is his enemy.
Why?
Because it literally changes his ability to hold control over the Federation.
How so? I mean, it is a game changer, but as far as anyone on the Discovery is concerned, they've completely submitted themselves before the authority of Starfleet. So it's not like they're, in an antagonistic position.
Right.
Well, but you're talking about a Section 31 that now has control over a very limited.
First of all, we don't know if it's Section 31.
Well,
we don't. Go ahead, son.
If it is Section 31, you are talking about a Section 31 that has a control over a very limited Starfleet that isn't spread out throughout the galaxy like it used to be. And here is a ship right there on the edge to say, here's hope that we can do that again, thereby spreading Section 31 thin again, instead of having a almost total control over what Starfleet is.
Okay, first of all, Section 31 never had almost totally, except for when the AI took them over, but they didn't have total control over Starfleet. And certainly not since the Klingon War or since season 2 of Discovery. They retreated into the shadows. Their thing wasn't about being in control. Their thing was about using Starfleet as the veneer behind which they operated.
Of course, but you've also got to remember, this is what, hundreds and hundreds of years of,
exactly. And you're leaping to all these conclusions about what Section 31 wants and doesn't want when we have absolutely no evidence about it either way.
We also don't have any evidence that they've not become that either. That they've
but come on. I mean, we have lots of things we don't have evidence for.
But and so here's my argument against that whole thought is if you have some position of authority in this universe, right, and you have a villain, right? So Brenda mentioned something that maybe Vance is working with the chain to save as many worlds as he can. Maybe that there is some of those backfields going. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's plausible.
But handing over a ship as powerful as Discovery still makes no sense because that tips the balance into their favor, and now they no longer have to work. Now that means the Emerald Chain no longer has to work with Vance for anything, because once they have Discovery's tech, they become the dominant force in the galaxy. And there isn't much any other race could do aside from it. That's why I don't think Section 31 wouldn't be giving it over. Even if even your point, Section 31 feels like they have this increased authority or this increased influence over galactic events or over the Federation events. It's neither here nor there. They wouldn't give up the Discovery because it's such game-changing technology.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
It's too high a price to go up Discovery, yeah.
Right.
All right. So where does that leave us? So we reached the conclusion of the episode, a cliffhanger, which maybe
fucking tentacles, man. Where the fuck did those come from?
Yeah.
Listen, they got them from the Pack Led. You guys don't know this, but the pack letter is secretly part of the Emerald Chain.
It wouldn't surprise me, but damn.
I mean, that's plausible as well, although I just don't see it happening, but because they're ridiculous. I mean, they're just ridiculous. I mean, even in lower decks where they're super powerful, they're still ridiculous.
And that what made it even more ridiculous is that they didn't just go and pierce Discovery. It wrapped around the nacelles, the saucers, like really wrapping. Oh.
Well, programmable matter, dude.
Programmable tentacles.
Yeah, programmable tentacles, indeed. So I just don't see...
Into the vagina nebula.
Now it just sounds like really bad anime.
Yeah.
Excuse you, it's not anime, it's hentai.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I don't know.
You know what I meant.
Okay, so we have 2 episodes left, right, for the season. So if we think, so let's project forward a little bit. If we assume that whatever is the big deal in Su'Kal and with the Emerald Chain is resolved by the end of the 2nd episode, what is a good way to end up the season? Or do we expect this to carry through to a season cliffhanger in the final episode? What do you think?
They need to conclude this now. If this pulls into a season cliffhanger into season 4, they're gonna, if they try to do that, they're gonna try to do a best of both worlds, and it's gonna crash and burn.
I agree with you.
No pun intended. No
I
pun
agree.
intended.
I agree with you, Jason. Where do you weigh in?
I think we get an episode. I don't think it's going to wrap up in the next week. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the previews for next week, but it looks like, you know, there's the clips for next week have what's her name walking through the Federation or the Starfleet headquarters. So I mean, you know, I think you know, maybe the team gets Discovery back next week, but they're still around.
Is this a DS9 being taken over by the Cardassians?
God, I hope not. God, I hope not.
I hope not too. I hope not too.
That was awful because they made Deep Space Nine their headquarters, and that was just stupid. Like that was just a big tactical blunder on behalf of the founders and Gul Dukat and Wayun. And
actually, I disagree with you there, just because it was the thing at the gateway to the wormhole.
But the gateway was useless until it got reopened.
Right, but they knew they were eventually going to reopen it.
Then that's when you become your headquarters. Not
well, but you can't just set up a headquarters like that. It makes sense to lay the groundwork for that. Anyway, we can. That's a whole other show we can debate. But Son, what do you think? What are we? How's this the end of the season shaping up? Given what we know so far,
I think the end of the season we are going to have to make a hard call of whether or not Su'Kal lives or dies.
Interesting. That had not
because the next episode is not about them being on the planet or anything. The next episode is about whatever the hell's going on at Starfleet.
Right. So does that mean Burnham is, and who else is down there? Burnham, Culber, Adira, and Saru are basically not in this episode?
Burnham is in this episode because at the end of this episode, she beamed back onto Book Ship, remember?
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Yeah, she traded places with Adira.
Right, with Adira.
Adira beamed down and Burnham came back.
Right. Okay.
So it's Book and Burnham going off to save the Federation. Which I agree with one of the comments here that I really think Burnham is going to go to Navarre to try and rally the Vulcans and Romulans.
Well, I like the idea of rallying the Vulcans, the Navarrians. I just don't know if they've laid enough groundwork for that. I mean, they did kind of do that with the Kelpians and the Baul at the end of season 2. They appeared magically in their ships to help save the day.
That was a thing from this episode that I found very important that they really just quickly went past. Is that the dynamic may have changed between the Kelpians and the Baul, but the basic structure of it stayed the same. The Baul still remained the protectors of the Kelpians, but they weren't the enemies eating the Kelpians anymore. At least that's the way it was presented by the Elder.
Yeah, it's kind of mushy. But yeah, I think you're probably essentially right. I don't think they really explained everything, but you know, and I'm not sure it even makes that big a deal. But I guess we'll find out.
Now, here's another thing with the whole Vulcan bit. Now, Burnham's mom's one member of that sisterhood, Romulan sisterhood, so they can invoke a lost cause and get people to help.
Sister of the traveling dance, the traveling whatever habits.
The Guatemala.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
I mean, it would be a lost cause to retake Federation headquarters after the Emerald Chain takes it over. I mean,
not even that. Just destroying the Emerald Chain itself would be considered a lost cause.
this is true, and they haven't even mentioned the Klingons. Ain't no telling what they can pull off.
Klingons are so far away, it doesn't even fucking matter.
Yeah, they're not going to just pull Klingons out of nowhere.
Yeah, with no dilithium, they're not going to, yeah.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen. But I do believe we could see something with Earth. We could see something with the Navarians. I just hope they handle it right, given the fact we only have 2 episodes. So for me, it's just a question of pacing. Although I don't think it's a bad theory.
With us coming up on the 800th episode, they got to do something cool, because every time we've had a major episode mark in Star Trek history, they've done something kind of cool for that episode.
They've done something kind of cool, but they don't necessarily. It's not always epic, you know. It's just not. It's just who's doing your impression of Darth Vader?
That's not a Darth Vader impression. That doesn't sound like no Darth Vader impression. That sounds like a Jabba the Hutt impression.
Okay, so I want to give a quick shout out to David Sturm's Shakespearean Theory, who has something about the title of the episode changing to something from Julius Caesar, and that argues for Earth, Trill, and Navarians coming to help in this situation. But we'll see, because remember, this is not an easy part of the galaxy to get to from there.
Unless they all have spore drive technology now.
Which they won't, dude. I mean, it's not easily replicable.
That we know about yet. We don't know how far along they got on their refit stuff. They've had all this time to study Discovery and learn how it works.
Yeah, but
Earth has a lot of dilithium.
That doesn't mean that it's replicable. Knowing how it works and being able to replicate are 2 different things.
But they have programmable matter, though.
Yeah, and remember, Earth has a hoard of dilithium.
Yes, but what is their incentive to use it for this? Why this?
Federation headquarters.
No, wait a minute.
They don't care about the Federation anymore.
Wait a minute, Justin. Wait a minute. There's no way that Earth would have the plans for the Discovery. The Federation might have replicated a whole bunch of ships, but not Earth, and certainly not whatever the hell Vulcan is now.
Well, if they had
I think you're reaching.
Database.
I think you're reaching, Justin. There's no incentive.
The Starfleet archives are on Earth, or were on
So
Earth.
what? What difference does it make? There's no.
They would have had archives of Discovery.
No, they wouldn't have. Actually, it was all deleted from the database.
The best thing that we can say about a joint ventured fleet is that they all get their ships together. They all enter the same little subspace wormhole pocket to get to Federation headquarters together. That's it. It's just normal ships. It's not a whole bunch of spore drive ships.
Yeah, it's not a whole bunch of.
I just thought of an evil cliffhanger.
Oh no! What?
Okay, they do all that. They get all these ships together. They enter in the bubble, and then they cut it. They end it right there for the season.
See, they're gonna go best of both worlds. It's not gonna work.
No, they're not. They're not going to go best. Listen,
they're not going to go best.
They're not going to do that, because we have 2 episodes left. We haven't ended a season on a cliffhanger yet. We haven't ended.
You're not gonna have Burnham sitting there on the bridge of Discovery going fire, and then it cuts.
And I do want to call out that although the next episode is episode 800, or would be the 800th, live action production of Star Trek, that's including movies, the features and such.
And all the animated series.
Yeah.
Does it include the animated series?
And the short treks.
So, see, they
I don't know.
they should have ended Discovery then with 12 episodes instead of 13. They knew 800 was coming. They should have just. They're gonna cliffhanger us into the season finale, and we're gonna be disappointed. We're gonna get this amazing episode where it's gonna get me. It's gonna get me, the Discovery hater, to be like, oh my god, this was amazing, and the season finale is gonna be like,
It's too late for that. That's already happened though.
It's true.
the cause of the burn.
Yeah, I still don't like the explanation. I kind of felt it was cheap. I mean, just to have the cause of such a galaxy-wide, devastating, thing to be a kid's dream. Why?
The only thing I want to happen is one last burn, and that is he screams and Michael Burnham falls into nothing but goo. That's what I want.
Of course it is. Your love for Michael Burnham is well known.
Michael Burnham could die this episode.
No.
Do it. Kill off Burnham.
Everybody hates Burnham.
No, everybody doesn't, actually.
I don't hate Burnham.
I dislike Burnham.
I think she's great.
Terrible character by a great actress.
I am evilly staring at you right now, Carlos. If I had to tea, I would angry tea sip.
I'm saying, the cause of the burn, Praxis exploding in undiscovered country was more interesting.
We don't know. I mean, listen, we don't know what exactly.
And you had a better captain, so boom, that 0-for-2.
Well, we don't know.
You had Sulu. Sulu, not Sulu.
Yes, we know who you mean. Go ahead, Jason.
We don't know. I mean, yes, we know there's some sort of physiological connection between what's his name,
Sukal,
and the planet, right? So we know that he has dilithium as part of his DNA. We don't know what that does. We don't know. All we know is that he started having his meltdown and it caused vibration. The dilithium start vibrating. We don't know that how that amplified across the galaxy and all that all that. There's a lot more to find out. So I mean, the whole this is just this disappointing. We don't. We know half of what caused the burn at this point. We don't know the full story.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Okay, so that that brings us, I think, to the end of this episode. Any other issues you guys want to talk about before we do our roundup?
Let's see here. I mean, I get the feeling that they're going to leave us on cliffhanger. It is so much that they have to wrap up in 2 episodes. I don't think they're going to get it all in 2 episodes. There's a lot to pack in.
Just go back to Picard season 1 and see how much they wrapped up in those 2 episodes. Go back to Go back to the last season of Discovery and see how much they wrapped up in those 2 seasons.
Did you guys not watch the finale of The Mandalorian last week?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that was 1 episode, guys.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. I think they can accomplish a lot in those remaining 2 episodes.
The question is, do they have the writing chops to do that?
That's the kicker. It's it varies depending on who writes the episode. So it depends on who's writing next 2 episodes. Do we know who's doing that yet? Or no?
I think we do, but I'm sure they have their best people on that. Justin, do me a favor and put up Thomas Swope's latest comment on there, because I think it's an interesting one. He says that the saving component may be Discovery's computer because it has the ancient database plus a fierce protectiveness of the Discovery and its crew.
This is true.
So actually, I think, and they've been hinting at that throughout the entire season. So I see that as a very possible.
Zora could very well manifest.
Yeah, I've seen a number of people out in the interwebs making that theory as well, and I think it's plausible.
And we still got to get to the point to where we were in the short trek somehow, because we have Discovery sitting in a nebula. It's back in her original condition. So, are they going to ignore it? Are they going to, tie it in somehow?
Look, I think that is just that they did not have a new model at the time, and they wanted to make something interesting there.
Yeah, I agree with Sun on that one. That it's just
that's 2 this week.
You're not going to let.
Holy crap!
You're not going to let the cart force well, actually, the heart. You're not going to let the horse force the cart to go where it wants to go. I mean, they didn't know 3 years ago exactly what they were going to be doing in this season. So even if they had some general idea, the idea of the ship being upgraded wasn't necessarily a part of that. So so I'd be surprised if they're going to let themselves be straitjacketed by the visual effects of a short trek. Michelle Paradise. Okay, yeah. So she's the showrunner. So presumably she knows what she's doing.
I hope so. And Jonathan Frakes is directing this next episode. So, with it being 800, it's going to be fun. Hopefully. It's going to have his unique mark.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully
You never know. It could be Jonathan Frakes crashing ships into each other again.
A joystick comes out of nowhere and saves the day.
God.
No.
Torment me with this.
Jonathan Frakes didn't crash ships into each other. That was Stuart Baird.
Yeah, that's right. It was Stuart Baird.
And Marina Sirtis.
Okay, so all right, so let's do the roundup. Our scores for this week out of 10. We'll start with our guest, Greg. How does this episode rate for you? We can't hear you. Figure out your.
We can't hear
audio.
you.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Yeah, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, we'll come back to you. Let's go to Sun.
For this episode, I'm going to have to give it a lost future imperfect badges out of 10.
Well, they had the number of stripes on those badges dependent on your rank. So which
look, I'll be completely honest. If there was ever a Starfleet badge I wanted, it would be those.
I agree with you on that. I thought it was an awesome badge, which they reused in All Good Things, right?
No, they reused the one in Picard and All Good Things. Well, they used one like Picard's and All Good Things, so this is a slight bit different.
Yeah, this is the one they used. Well, this is the one they used in Picard.
Right.
It's similar to the one they used in All Good Things.
Yeah, I think
it's
the points are a little bit. I think the left point is actually flush with the other one.
But they did reuse the future imperfect ones in some other episode too, didn't they? I feel like they did.
That was one off because
I think you're wrong. I'm going to look it up though, but we'll deal with that later. So, Sun, where are you coming down between 1 and 10?
I have to give this episode a 6, honestly.
Wow. Okay,
I can understand why. All right, Ensign Beard Fasse.
I'm going to give it a 7. Again, I'm really not happy with ships being. I don't like feeling angst from week to week, like this, and so it just puts. I mean, listen.
Thank you. This is Michael Burnham hatred in a nutshell.
Listen, I mean, the story was good. The acting was good. The emotionality of where the story left me when it ended, I give it a 7.
Okay, understandable.
Subject to change Thursday night.
Okay, Greg, you want to give it another try? Nope, still don't hear you. Whatever you changed, go back to undo it. Justin.
Yeah, we will go with a 7.5, subject to change with next week's episode, because I'm loving how they're all kind of tying into each other. So, I mean, it's really unfair to give it a final rating until I see next week's ending, because it's all I get.
Oh my God, people, we cannot do this every week. I'll wait until next week before I give my rating for this week. That's not how this works.
I'm giving a rating. I gave it a 7.5 for this week, but I want to see. I might up that a bit, but we'll see how that goes for next week. But yeah, 7.5 for now. Okay. We'll see how it goes later on.
The badges from Future Imperfect also made an appearance.
Thank you, Anthony.
57.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There's one. Okay, you got one. You got one.
One. Okay, so thank you, Anthony. I love you.
and then
Not
I
as
guess-
much as Lane, though. Okay, so did we lose Greg?
he'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, here's Andrew's rating.
6.5. Didn't like about the burn reveal. I think the thing is, I agree with you. Andrew, that it doesn't work until we hear more. But I think that's the whole point. Is we don't really know what it is yet until we hear more. So I wouldn't have expected anything more out of that. Thomas, I agree with you. Discovery boarded way too easily. Although I'm willing to go for myself, I'm willing to go up to a 7.5, like Justin, because even though there were some very problematic things about this episode, like how easily the Discovery was taken, there was a lot of things to like, and I probably didn't talk about that as much as I should have, but I liked the weirdness of the away mission. I thought it was cool that they're doing stuff like that. It had a little bit of a TOS TNG feel to it that still worked with Discovery's own sort of the character of its own show.
Hey, and we're actually complaining about how easily the ship got taken over. Look what happened numerous times in the Next Generation.
Yes, and I hated it there too.
And Defiant.
And I hated it there too.
It isn't that the ship got
Jason.
taken over. It's that I have to wait a week before I get resolution, and now I feel like I'm just angst.
The way they usually set this up is that it's easily taken over in order to give, our heroes a chance to show how amazing they are in banding together to retake it. But it never should have been taken in the first place. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so 7.5 for me. We're still waiting for Greg to come back. Any final thoughts on this episode before we move on?
Drew's going to die.
He's not.
I'm calling it now. Or he's going to be promoted and transferred off the ship.
No, they're not. Why would they do that? Just
keep him in the loop. I mean, if they ain't going to kill him,
popular actor on a popular show with
kill
a popular character.
Before.
No, they don't. Not like this.
They killed Spock
at the end of the movie because the character was leaving. I mean, because the actor was leaving. They didn't have any choice. This is Doug Jones' bread and butter. When? At the end of
Nemesis, but that wasn't the planned end movie. But it wasn't the planned end one, though.
Yes, but they also left, planted the seed of him coming back via what's his face before.
They killed Tasha Yar.
They killed who?
Tasha Yar.
Well, that was in season 1, and
and she wanted off the show.
She was.
Yes.
Yeah, she wanted off the show. You don't see that any of those factors being involved here with Doug Jones and Saru. It just doesn't make any sense, Justin.
I mean, if they bring him back, it is Star Trek, so they'll.
Yeah, that's your excuse all the time. It doesn't work.
Hey, I still vote for time travel.
Okay. If I'm going to ignore the burn, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10.
Wow.
But
that's even higher than me, Greg.
It's because I enjoyed the episode, but right up until the cause of the burn. And yes, I'm the whole trope of taking over the ship. Yeah, that was bad. It's always been bad. Mm-hmm. But the story was really well done, and I'm going to give it an 8. If I'm going to put the burn in there, then it's going to drop to a 7.
Okay, so we're in the same kind of neighborhood. All right. Well, this was a good discussion, everyone. Thank you for your thoughts on that one. And we have no more Mandalorian, but we have the Expanse started up. I know. Sorry, Mandalorian. But we had the Expanse start up last week. This week, they early, by the way. Yes, sorry. There you go, Jason. That's for you.
Oh,
that is so cold.
Oh, you've got your little. Is that the little animatronic Baby Yoda?
Yeah.
Here's something for everybody else.
Not everybody else. Just Son.
Mirror Universe Burnham is better than Prime Burnham.
I agree.
I like Emo Burnham. That Yoda is distracting.
That Yoda is literally a Yoda-looking Furby. That's it. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
I used to light firecrackers under Furbies.
A guy literally made an organ, like a musical organ, out of a bunch of Furbies.
Yeah, light an M80 under a Furby. There you go.
Right.
Okay. All right. So that brings us to the end of our Star Trek, our Discovery segment. We've got 2 more episodes to go. You've heard our predictions for where we think those are going to go. So we'll see how close we get. In the meantime,
what are we ever going to do without any Star Trek to go on about for an hour and a half?
Watch Cobra Kai.
Oh, yeah. The Cobra Kai after show.
In June. We also have, are any of you, by the way, planning on seeing Midnight Sky on Netflix? That's the George Clooney movie.
I plan to watch that probably tomorroah. Yeah,
I was planning. Yeah, because it actually looks really good.
Okay, well, let's put it up for review next week.
Okay,
because it's been getting some interesting reviews, so it'd be fun.
It looks fun, actually.
Yeah,
I mean, I like those post-apocalyptic stuff. If it's something that's not 2012.
Indeed.
But yeah, there's mostly it has a lot of mystery around it because they never really go into actually what happened. But it leaves it open to the imagination. I like that type of stuff. Leaves you guessing. David does not agree.
Okay, say a little bit more, David. We need more than just blech. We'll wait for you.
While we're waiting, what are we watching?
No, that's at the end of the show. Okay, so let's talk about. I've been punting this topic for the last couple of weeks because we just ended up talking about Mandalorian and Star Trek for so much, but this is an interesting question, and the fact that all of these new Star Trek shows completely ignore Captain Kirk. I mean, there's a reference to him in Lower Decks, but apart from that, he, obviously in the first 2 seasons of Discovery it was pre-Kirk, so he wouldn't have. But we have him in Picard, we have him in what else is there? I don't know, but there's no Captain Kirk at all. Is this fair? Is this right? Is this good? Does it matter? What do you think?
I'd say. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Honestly, I don't know why you decided to share a Screen Rant article.
I like some of Screen Rant's commentary. I do.
Look,
they ask provocative questions. They don't always deliver on the topics, but I think the topics they raise are good topics.
You are a Screen Rant.
I think it's something as simple as nobody wants to mess with Shatner because in real life he's kind of.
Yeah, I think you may actually be right about that. Give me another achievement unlocked, Justin. I just agreed with Son again.
I agree. I agree with Son too on this one because my personal interactions with Shatner online, he's a bit of a douche canoe.
Thank you for the achievement, Greg. You were going to say something.
With Kirk, it's fair we haven't heard anything now, but when Strange New Worlds premieres, we have got to hear Lieutenant Commander or Commander Kirk.
Do we?
I feel we do. But here's the thing. Don't be scared of Shatner. Recast the role. Be like, hey, you're not.
Well, of course, if it's going to be in Strange New Worlds, it's going to be recast.
Right. But if he's like,
thank you, Brenda.
Who cares? Kirk isn't the best captain. He wasn't the best admiral either.
Ouch.
But
so you're saying he was actually a Federation badmiral?
Yeah, I think he was.
What the hell? Oh, there's
what is going on?
This Kirk Funko Pop thing.
My thing is that they're scared. Like the Star Trek producers on, they're scared of Will Shatner, and they shouldn't be. They're going to tell Bill, you have no input. Bye.
I don't think they're scared of him, but there's no good reason story-wise for him to be included. I mean, honestly,
we've already seen that they're not scared of the gatekeepers, so they're not going to worry about what Shatner thinks.
No, we'll see Shatner play a prominent role when Strange New Worlds has, let's say, 5 successful years. They end it with Kirk taking command.
By 5 successful years, Shatner will be 98 years old.
Well, he wouldn't be a part of it anyway. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that William Shatner would be playing a young Captain
He won't.
Kirk.
I'm just saying, though, like, when you bring up Kirk, okay, Strange New Worlds 5 years or however many years they go, and then it's like then it ends with Kirk taking command, and then you're in the TOS.
Yeah, see, now that I can get behind. I actually said something.
Yeah, but
similar
that's almost like a one-off, though.
Could
It's
it-
not
could
like
it just-
really what you're leading up to.
Well,
Could it just be that Kirk's story's been told?
I
Too many
feel.
times.
I
Like,
think you're right.
I mean, why is it like we're afraid of Shatner? I mean, I just think that like the story of Pike, the Strange New Worlds tells the story of the Star Trek show we never got, right? The original pilot and going on, and we never got those stories, you know, and we never got to hear about, you know, Pike and Spock and number one on away missions and boldly going where no one has gone before. I don't think it has anything to do with Shatner being Shatner or anything. I think it's just between 79 episodes, 6 feature films, 3 feature films in a sideways universe or a pocket universe. I don't see what else we need to hear about Kirk other than expanding on the Kelvin timeline.
I mean, we did see what happened with the movies. I mean, you know, they pretty much left the movie franchise up in air because it wasn't that popular. I mean, it was, but not enough for them to keep going with it, obviously. I mean, look, they're pouring everything into the TV shows right now. And, I mean, yeah, they keep hinting at stuff about the movies, but as far as we know, nothing officially has been announced.
I think the Kelvin universe has legs. I don't think it's done. I don't think it has to be done. I just don't know why we have to explore Kirk at all in Strange New Worlds. I don't see why we have to explore Kirk at all. Like, he's been really explored.
You're right. They can run that show for 10 years before they even think about mentioning Kirk.
Exactly the same reason why we never saw another Constitution class ship in the Next Generation or anything else. I mean, you know, been there, done that. You know, this story's not about that. It's just Kirk's been beat to death. We don't need Kirk.
I don't think he's been beat to death. I just think that like what compelling story are you going to tell? Like, if we're going to bring in Lieutenant Kirk into Strange New Worlds, that's fine. Do it to where you have just a joint away mission with the Farragut, and then at the end, as before Kirk and Spock beam up their respective ships, you know, have Spock say, you know, I never got your name, Lieutenant. Oh, my name's James T. Kirk, and then, you know, end it. Like, so you don't even know that it's Kirk until the end, but we don't need to hear a lot about Kirk's story. I mean,
Andrew makes a good point. Sorry.
Yeah, I want to see Pike. I want to watch Strange New Worlds to see the high level sci-fi that we never got with the pilot.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think you're right. I think Kirk's story.
Thank you, Brenda.
Yeah, Brenda's right.
Yeah, Brenda is correct. Now, as far as Andrew made the point about Robert April, and while I think that's a good point, it would require us going even further backwards, which I think is the wrong way to go. If we see Robert April ever again, it will be him, you know, post his being on the Enterprise, you know, as a guest star on Strange New Worlds. But you're not going to see.
I think that's more likely because he will probably be an admiral by that point, so they'll probably see him poking in, you know, at least once, just as a nod. Because I mean, you know, they did the Gateway, so they'll probably thank him or something, dude.
Well, he wouldn't even be an admiral because, like, at that last episode of the animated series, he was a Commodore. That's not even an admiral.
Yeah, true. Well, I mean, don't make him Commodore, but I mean, it's just they got such a good storyline. Why do we even need Kirk for Strange New Worlds? If they're going to do it, they might mention him at the end of the run of the show, but that's hopefully many years on down the line, because it would kill it to have anything unless it's the Farragut story. Now, if they tell the Farragut story, that would be kind of fun.
I'm sorry, but the blood-sucking cloud would not play very well in the 21st century.
Hey, we have a cloud that kills people with radiation. That's been done to death.
You had that exact same argument about a fucking donut, and look what we got.
Yep.
Are you talking about the Guardian Forever?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh God.
The Guardian Forever was always a good idea. The cloud-sucking or the blood-sucking cloud was a bad idea back then.
Yeah, but you said the donut wouldn't look good now, and look at what they did.
Well,
you got a point. You got a point.
They pumped up that donut for sure.
They upgraded the donut 25%.
We only saw it for like 15 seconds.
They had to upgrade it 25% to make it.
No, we actually saw it for about a good 3 minutes because it swirled behind Giorgio.
That's true. While she was making her parting speech.
While Burnham didn't cry.
Was that the only episode where Burnham hasn't cried?
I think you may have a point on that one, Greg.
I think that's probably the only episode where she hasn't cried at least once.
She didn't cry in this past one neither.
She almost did.
That's right.
Almost. But
She came close because she was tearing it up like she was getting ready to bawl.
Well, you know what though? Who cares? Like, people cry.
And it's not to make fun. It's not to make fun of it.
It's sexist to assume that crying is a sign of weakness.
Oh no, it's not.
Okay,
It's just a running gag at this point. It's just running gag at this point.
It's running gag. Here. The whole crying thing. Why did she cry like in the beginning of the season? But when she had to say goodbye to Giorgio for the second time in her life, she did not cry. She loses her mentor again. But
she didn't cry. She didn't cry the time she lost her first one either.
Yeah, she did.
When?
When she's holding her body. Yeah, when she's holding her body.
Was she actually crying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. She screamed.
Crying is crying.
Yeah, I think it's because this was goodbye, but I think this was also sending her to where she needed to go, right? I mean, like it was. I mean, and you know, she may have been strong in the moment and then gone to her quarters afterwards and had.
Ouch, Andrew.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I think listen, the idea that a human female was raised emotionally repressed for a good chunk of her life, finally has a moment of life where she breaks with that logical stoicism, and yeah, she's a little emotional. Get over it, like, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you. I
mean, a year ago I had to put my dog to sleep, and when I sit down and I think about him for more than 10 minutes, I start to well up and cry. So I can only imagine what somebody who's dealt with a lifetime of how someone with a lifetime of repressed emotions are going to respond to a lot of emotionality.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a gag at this point. And I mean, it's okay to cry. You know, we're not saying that it's not okay to cry. They played it so much.
Okay, first of all, you may not, but a lot of the naysayers out there point to it as an element of weakness in her character.
Well, the naysayers need to go crawl under a rock.
Well,
yeah,
whatever.
I'm not a naysayer. I'm just saying it's a little excessive.
It is excessive, and I've even said so. You know,
yeah, that's what we're saying. We're just saying it's excessive. It's just not. It's not. We're not saying it to be bad or haters. You know,
it's not even the haters or that it's excessive. You literally have a character who's been raised emotionally repressed.
But Jason just dealt with that, and I think that's
no. Wait a minute. Let me finish for once.
Ooh.
Damn.
Go ahead.
You're also talking about an entire other section of people who are literally the woke, the revenge of the woke, who look at the character of Burnham as supposed to be a hero. Yet everything about her is a stereotype of women. Oh, she's over emotional now because she's been repressed all of these years. Isn't this the exact same shit that they keep talking about fighting against?
No. Just Michael Burnham is a woman written by women. Janeway was a woman written by men. Janeway was the one, in my opinion, that presented like what the ideal strong woman would be like. I think Michael Burnham. I think criticism that she's written stereotypically is wrong. I mean, again, you go back to look at, she's written as someone who's a complex character, dealing with complex situations, dealing with all this stuff. Whereas Janeway was the one who was written with just stereotypes, mama bear, queen bitch, like those are the things. And yeah, I mean, again, like I see Michael Burnham as a woman written by women, whereas I see Janeway as a woman written by men.
I don't necessarily mean like those stereotypes. I mean a single stereotype, and that is she seems to be hyper emotional. Period.
But people are hyper emotional. You know, it's like
I understand.
women. So I don't see it as being an issue of woke. I see the people who object to it because she's a woman being misogynist, but I don't think the reverse is necessarily the case.
All right, that's fine. I mean, we run in completely different circles, so what I see is not what you see, and what you see is not always what I see.
Sure.
But yeah, no, there are plenty of people who are on the other side of that because of the communities that I'm in who hate Burnham because she's hyper emotional and she's not supposed to be.
What do you mean it's not supposed to be?
Because
what about her means that she shouldn't be?
Because she's been raised as raised as a broken.
And children rebel against their upbringing all the time.
Spock did.
Yeah, Vulcan children do that.
Right.
Except that Burnham is a character who's not been trying to rebel against Sarek.
Ultimately, she did, though.
Yeah,
she did.
I mean, she said, "I love you." Like she told Sarek, "I love you." This is someone who, I mean, again, she doesn't have. There was some of the physiological abilities of Vulcans to repress emotions. She's a human; she lacks those physiological abilities, and you know,
of course, even Sarek admitted it. That's why he tried to That's why he tried to pawn her off on Georgiou.
Right, and the point, but when the point came, so where she basically had this traumatic experience, and I mean by traumatic experience, I mean season 1 of Discovery. She was, when she was Georgiou, she went on to Georgiou's Shenzhou, and she was very much that stoicism. She represented that, to the point to where she even ribbed on Saru about his anxiety and his fears, and whatever happened between Battle of the Binary Stars and the end of season 1, all those things that have happened transpired, with mutinying, getting watching Georgiou get killed, being blamed for the start of the war, dealing with all the traumatic shit Lorca put her through, coming through the other side, standing up to the Federation, saying no, we have to, it's almost mutiny to the inverse, right? Instead of saying we have to hit first, saying no, we can't hit. That we cannot let our principles go. That was an emotional journey, and now she isn't the Michael Burnham that is supposed to be all emotionless. We're seeing that full arc play out.
Yeah, I really wish you guys would be the one to tell this to them, because Lord knows I can't.
Well, I mean, these are people who, I mean, what I found are the people.
Have them watch the stream.
The people who want to hate Michael Burnham are going to hate Michael Burnham. Like I can talk to them until they're blue in the face, and they're just going to hate her, and they're going to find reasons to dislike her, and they're going to, whatever. I mean, and listen, there's lots to criticize about Discovery. There's lots to criticize about the character Michael Burnham. But if you're going to open that door of criticism, just be willing to put all of the other 799 episodes of Star Trek under the same level of scrutiny.
That's exactly right, because, I mean, not every episode of Star Trek is perfect. Discovery, by far, is not perfect. We all have our own nitpicks about that. Mm-hmm. And Picard, too, which we've all voiced about it on the show. I mean, many times with rants. We're not, apologists by any means. I mean, you got to look at it all. You can't just be like, well, Gene Roddenberry does it. Well, Gene Roddenberry wasn't a part of Star Trek after season 2 of TNG. After that,
what it comes down to is if you're going to hold these shows to the same level of scrutiny, and you're going to like what was the whole thing going on in the group, where we have someone posting some just hit and run videos from YouTube, and people are like, well, why is are we not allowed to hate Ray? Are we not allowed? Do we all have to like Ray? No, you don't have to like Ray. You can dislike Ray. You can dislike anything you want. That's fine. But don't come at me and say Ray's a bad character, or Ray's awful, or Ray destroyed Star Wars, and name all of the same attributes that Luke Skywalker had, mm-hmm. without criticizing Luke Skywalker for being the same kind of Mary Sue.
I'm about the same way with that one, Jason, because I'm like, okay, look, it's simply this: if you're going to criticize them, at least have talking points. Don't pull some video from YouTube and be like, post it off somewhere and be like, okay, this is my talking point. Tell us your reasons why. I mean,
but those reasons, if you give me reasons why, apply them consistently through the universe or through the franchise you're talking about.
Right.
I don't have a problem with that video being posted. I don't have a problem with people discussing it. I do have a problem with exactly what Jason brings up, which is that the same people who are using those criticisms to shoot down Discovery have not applied that same level of criticism on the Star Trek they supposedly love.
I mean, here's another thing. There so many people have just. Oh no! Okay, Andrew. You know what, Andrew? You caused this. You caused this.
Don't, Andrew.
So this actually is a decent segue into a topic that I didn't post on the Trello, but is worth mentioning.
Sure.
Lori Loaded lives near Nashville, where the AT&T building was exploded, and he's not feeling so great right now. So if you guys want to see someone who does criticize all of Star Trek, go send him some love on YouTube.
I think that's
Lori Loaded. I mean, he's done an awesome job. He little bit at first I thought it was flaky, but he really has a unique perspective where he looks at it at all angles, and that's the way you should be. I do not classify him as part of the fandom menace. I mean, if everybody looked at things objectively, I mean, that's what you need to do. You call yourself a fan. You can't just hold one above the rest. You got to look at it as a whole. And Star Trek as a whole is...
No, I mean, I think it's fine to look... You don't have to look at it as a whole. Just don't treat it as a whole. I mean...
Well, I mean, that's what these people are doing. They're treating it as a whole. I mean, they're putting Discovery at its own separate thing, but they do want to ignore all the flaws of everything that's come before it. And the flaws are numerous.
No. It's not flaws. I'm saying if you're going to judge Discovery, you need to judge it by the same criteria with which you judge the other shows. Right, so if you're going to criticize Michael Burnham for being a Mary Sue, you've got to criticize Captain Kirk for being a Mary Sue. You've got to criticize Data for being a Mary Sue.
Captain Kirk is absolutely a Mary Sue.
Captain Kirk was a hoe.
I agree with Greg, but we don't hear it. That's not like you don't see people raging on Facebook or going on YouTube talking about how much of a Mary Sue Captain Kirk is and how Captain Kirk destroyed the Star Trek franchise.
No, you just hear them talking about how much of a sexist Shatner is.
Well, yeah, but that's Shatner. Remember how much shit Travis got whenever he did rankings for the captains, and he put Kirk at a lower level than anybody else. People were pissed.
Well,
People were pissed.
He deserved it. He deserved it.
Who, Travis did, or
yes.
I thought it was gutsy. I'm glad he did it.
Yeah,
it was provocative. So
it was.
I'm fine with that.
If we're gonna go by that, Kirk, he was an okay captain. I mean, if he was the Mary Sue, Spock had to clean it up all the time.
Which makes Spock the Mary Sue. Look, I mean, he's aiming that phaser right at you, Greg.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think that's good for now. We can leave that at that. Let's move on to some other news of the week. One of which, it turns out that we've talked a few times in the past about the upcoming redo of Battlestar Galactica on television, led by Sam Esmail, the guy who did Mr. Robot, and some other folks. And how it's not necessarily a reboot, but another story in the same universe, kind of is how they're explaining that away.
They're going to try to DS9 and Voyager Battlestar Galactica.
I don't know about that, but the news this week was that they are in fact still planning on doing a Battlestar Galactica feature film as well. Separate.
Why?
That is a really good question.
Why?
this isn't theoretical. This is like Simon Kinberg is the producer, that he doesn't
Oh,
talk out of his ass.
But
so-
why? The story's been told.
That's a good question.
Is
That's a
it
good
going to be a
question.
new universe? Is it going to be another story within? Why? Why would you make a movie over something that's been told unless you're... Why? Oh my God. Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, it hasn't been, well, I mean, like, it's been told, but it hasn't been
How many-
told as well.
How many times have you guys gone and watched a Spider-Man reboot? Is this no fucking different?
Yeah,
It's the exact same story told again. Why are you going to watch it?
okay. In defense of Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire one versus Andrew Garfield, Maguire was biologically completely altered spinning web. Andrew Garfield had to make the web, so there was a different aspect of that story.
Thank you.
And we have the nature of there being the Spider-Verse.
That's kind of a difference that makes no difference, though.
and we're going to get the Spider. I mean, again, like within the context of Spider-Man, you got the Spider-Verse. So, and we're going to see in the next movie, we're going to see Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield Spider-Man with
Garfield Spider-Man. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see that. You know, I really hope they do. What's his name?
Miles Morales.
No, not Miles Morales. Parker Ham, Peter Ham, whatever.
Peter Porker, the Spider-Ham, Amazing Spider-Ham?
Spider-Ham.
Oh no!
In live action? No.
Yes.
No.
Come on, this is Disney. We could do it.
No,
Yeah,
they did it,
but
they got
failed.
away with it in Multiverse because it was a cartoon.
They would make it look so bad. I mean, look what they did to Lion King. No.
I mean, they did make Howard the Duck look better.
Yeah, but
only look better, but it was still a terrible movie.
There's only one way I would accept a live action Peter Porker. And that's
Oh,
if they did that in the style of Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh,
Where he's literally a tune.
Yeah.
yeah, he's literally, yeah. So he's
Maybe.
So Chris-
I just think
yeah,
it's the
like maybe a
wrong.
cartoon universe. Yeah, that could work.
I just think
So
it's the
we're bringing
wrong
back this-
direction for Spider-Man to be going.
So we're bringing back Christopher Lloyd for Star Trek and Spider-Man.
Hey, why not?
I don't know. Spider-Man. This third Spider-Man is not shaping up well to me. I don't know how the rest of you feel, but I just feel like it's replaying all the same mistakes the last time they made a Spider-Man 3.
I'm just really disappointed that we're all in the movie and except Dayton Ward.
Oh,
Everyone in the world is in this movie except for Dayton Ward.
Yeah, well, Dayton Ward is Dayton Ward.
Well, he's got a band to run, so
He's also got another book to write in which he kills you.
It could happen. It could happen.
Hey.
That's right, and he knows how. That's right, Dayton Ward knows how he would kill you. Okay.
Jason.
Did you just throw that across the?
Along with
fell.
the Baby Yoda.
Okay.
also he killed Baby Yoda.
Did you kill Baby Yoda? Oh
Grogu.
man.
Grogu.
No, Baby Yoda's still there.
My son would hurt me if
I
I
am
killed
Grogu.
Baby Yoda.
It's true.
He would destroy the Razor Crest.
You play with Baby Yoda more than your kid plays with Baby Yoda.
No, he loves this thing. He was like, "Do you have to take it on the show?"
No, I saw that
Aw.
before we even got to the technical difficulties before we got on there. This is like his kid was like, "Do you really have to? Please give it back." It was cute.
Okay. All right. So let's move to talking a little bit about The Expanse. Those of you who are not watching it can, pay attention to something else for a little while. And so we'll try to keep this actually spoiler free. I'm not sure we're at the point we want to do a total review here, but we are 4 episodes into The Expanse. And basically what's going on is they have completely split up the crew of the Rocinante, and each of them is in their own part of the solar system with their own storylines that are sort of intersecting in a few points. How is this season working for you? How are you liking the characters' development? And do you see these story threads ultimately coming together into something that's gonna work? So who wants to tackle that? Who has been watching The Expanse?
Actually,
I know you have, Justin. Greg, have you?
No, actually, I was just saying I have to dip out.
Okay.
Got a baby crying.
Yes. Take care of babies.
But thank you guys for having me. It was actually really fun being on here, and all of a sudden everything happens. I like Discovery, and it just went this direction.
Well,
Who
you're
knew?
welcome back anytime, man.
I appreciate that, guys. But I'll be definitely keep watching, and then if I can come back on, I'd appreciate it.
All right.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Greg.
Thanks,
Love
guys.
having you. Okay, Jason, you are not watching the Expanse, as I recall, right? You have to catch up.
Yeah, I got to catch up. I know I've been slacking. I just haven't started it. Like, I know we're 5 seasons. I just never started it, and I mean, I don't have.
It's very bingeable, Jason, and
Okay.
I don't expect you to catch up this season. But
What season are you on?
He hasn't even started yet, dude.
I haven't
Oh
started.
my. Okay, just to warn you. First few episodes are slow. Let it ride. It'll be fine
Well,
once you get
they're
to
not
episode 5 or 6.
slow so much as they are confusing.
Well, yeah. Once you get past episode 5, 6, right around there, it starts to pick up. Is that about right, Carlos? It's 5 or 6.
It's closer to 5. It's really.
Yeah.
I remember the first 3 being the ones that were harder to get through.
And then
And I think the way to watch The Expanse is don't go in there expecting every episode to be this cohesive story episode by episode, because that's not how they work. They do a lot of laying out of things. They do a lot of establishment of
they
relationships.
string it along.
And they're not teasing. It's just that's their way of storytelling. So just accept it. Just like let it happen.
Accept the exposition.
Well, no, I don't know. I don't think they're that expositional on that show, but yes, there is a lot of exposition. I mean, I won't disagree with you on there, but I don't think it gets in the way of things. It's just that this is a very world building kind of show, so they need some space to build their world.
And don't get too attached to anybody right off the bat.
That's enough. That's enough. We're
Yeah.
going to spoiler territory.
Well, I'm not spoiling nothing yet. I'm just saying don't get too attached to anybody, because if they throw stuff at you out of left field on a lot of things, and I mean a lot of stuff. They'll throw stuff at you. They'll make you think one thing, and then they come out with, oh, hey, look, over here, smack.
Right. So, but yeah, it's definitely worth
Hey,
getting into. You'll find that it is you won't be able to stop watching it.
Thomas, are you talking about season 1 of The Expanse? Because I was the same way, and this person right here, one of our other hosts, Sean, pushed me into watching it, and I've been getting hooked ever since. It's not the first show they've done that to me too. They've done it to me and other stuff, but trust me, once you get past the first few episodes, if you can survive that, you'll be good to go.
Yeah, it is confusing, Thomas, but it's confusing for a reason. And if you just give it the time, and really about the episode after you fell out is where it really starts to come together and really pick up. So give it a try. Okay. So what, Justin? Go ahead.
I was going to say, most definitely.
Yeah. But they're doing some interesting things this season, and so far, we're 4 episodes in. I forget. Do you remember, Justin, how many episodes we're getting this season? 12,
I think
10?
12.
I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll look it up. But we're 4 episodes in, and they are, I think, doing a pretty good job of, even though these storylines are pretty separate for the most part, they are still sort of thematically interweaving, and even from a plot-wise interweaving, even if the characters themselves haven't gotten back together yet. It's almost the opposite of last season. In season 4, it was almost so claustrophobic because they were everybody on this one planet for an entire season, and at some points it was like, oh, I just want to see more of the rest of space. And this season it's sort of the opposite. They're like all over the place in this solar system, and it's almost like when can we get our heroes back together?
There's only 10 episodes, I think, this season.
Oh wow, okay, so we're more than a third of the way through it. So Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, David, for setting us straight on that one. And as I think we reported last week, the next season 6 is going to be the last episode on Amazon. Although there was an interview that came out this past week in which the writers indicated that that it's possible the show may go on beyond that, but probably not at Amazon. So depending on how
Netflix. Huh?
Well, it was never on Netflix, so it was a sci-fi show.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think it might have played on Netflix for a while, but no, I think it went directly to Amazon. It went directly to Amazon.
It'll most likely go to Netflix. I don't see who picking up.
Netflix doesn't do that as much as you think they do anymore. The whole picking up rejected shows thing.
They picked up Cobra Kai.
Yeah, but I think that's now the exception rather than the rule. And they were smart because once they made that, they didn't make that decision until after it had aired on Netflix for a while, and they saw how popular it was. So
well, no, they didn't, because they basically season 3 of Cobra Kai was produced for YouTube.
Yeah.
And YouTube said, well, we're not going to air it because we're getting away from making original content.
Right.
So that's when Netflix stepped in, bought it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this wasn't a case where like they bought seasons 1 and 2, let it play, and then they decided to produce season 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So
the larger point, though, being that Netflix isn't in the business of saving dead shows from other networks anymore.
Well, the only other place they can possibly go is either Peacock or Hulu, but I don't see Hulu picking up another space.
Well, it's possible. Anything's possible. And that's why the interview this week, which is on our Trello if you want to read it, doesn't say anything definite. It just says that, there's still plenty of story to tell because this is based on a series of books, and there are more books. So it would be nice to see it go forward, but apparently season 6 is supposed to tie together a lot of loose ends by the end. So we'll see.
So there are a few shows that Netflix has saved.
I didn't say they don't do it. I just said they don't do it as much anymore as they used to.
Okay.
They've done it plenty of times. It's just, that was what they did like 3 and 4 years ago. It's not so much that what they do today. And even back then, it was. I mean, they're 3 and 4 years ago, they were renewing everything they were making. Well, they're not doing that anymore either. So, they're not even saving their own dead shows.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what happens in Netflix. I mean, I know we've had this debate, Carlos. I think Netflix.
Yeah, well, it's an ongoing one for sure.
Yeah,
I think legacy content gives them value, and it gives them an audience for their original content. I think they're hemorrhaging legacy content, and I don't see how the subscription base is going to continue.
Well, I mean, like everybody and their mother has a streaming service now, so it's not like Netflix is the only kid on the block anymore. So they're going to have to up their game, or they're going to get left behind in the dust.
But you're assuming these other streaming services are going to survive as well, and the reality is they won't. They won't all. In which case, those content providers are going to need to license their shows to somebody. Yeah. So it's just a question.
But these providers are backed by major studios. So how do you know that they won't survive? Like,
yeah, we're talking like we have CBS, all that. We have CBS.
But you can't just keep going just because you're a major studio. They look at the bottom line too.
Why not?
And
now
if they are not. We don't know what's going to happen because of theaters, Justin. This is all the entire economic landscape of entertainment has changed in the last year. But the point being that you can't just point to the fact that, Peacock is owned by NBC Universal, and that because of that, they'll keep it going forever, no matter what. They're not going to do that. These are, companies that they axe things that don't make money. That's the way they've always been. So we know that some of these streaming services are not going to survive. They're just not going to. That is the way of the world. So, so the question is whether or not Netflix can keep its subscriber base going long enough for those other ones to fail and for them to have new legacy content to be able to put into.
You're such a
into
Debbie
their
Downer.
content efforts.
Well,
I don't think that's a Debbie Downer at all. I think it's reality.
That's,
I mean,
that is
Go
a
ahead.
thing that's currently happened with the closing of the Gatecast, whatever the hell, for Stargate. Stargate SG-1 is now on Netflix, so I've been watching that.
Mhm.
So
But that's also on Prime, and it's,
Yeah. Oh, is it still on Prime with it being on Netflix?
Yep, it's still on Prime.
yeah, sure, but I don't have a Prime subscription, so it's on Netflix. Guess
Yeah,
what?
I mean, yeah, exactly. Licensing isn't always exclusive, so
it used to be something that was only on Gatecast. So I'm watching SG-1 again, and boy, is it full of nudity.
Just that first episode.
And they have the commercial cuts, and where you
Not the
okay,
first
first
five.
of all, not the first 5 seasons. Those were made. On
Oh
Showtime.
yeah, the cut that's on Netflix does,
Well, they put cuts in retroactively,
and it's very bad.
but the shows were aired on Showtime without commercials.
They'll just be doing something, and it's cut in an awkward spot, like it wasn't.
That's right.
there intentionally.
Because there was no cut there before when
Yeah.
it originally aired. So that's just
so
way
that's
it works.
that's the one they put on Netflix. I've watched it.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that's what happened, but it didn't need to be that way. I mean, that's you're seeing something that was retroactively cut.
Right, which doesn't make sense because they have the original. I mean, unless they're licensing.
They're licensing a body of content.
Yeah.
So
So
they
it
weren't
could be
gonna go back
it could be that Prime has the DVD cut version and
Yeah. Yeah. And it's legacy, so they're not going to necessarily go back to the trouble of remastering it to get rid of those cuts. Because it's just not worth that much money to do that. Andrew Purvis points out that they can't all survive, just finite number of consumers. It's just a matter of which will start the process. And I think you're right. I don't think it's finite consumers so much, Andrew. It's finite budget. Like, people can only afford so many streaming services a month.
But I have Netflix, I have Prime, I have All Access, I have HBO Max. So I have 4, right? I haven't sprung for Peacock yet, and I have Hulu from my Sprint subscription. I'm still paying less than what I would pay with cable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, because if you add it all up, I mean, with the way cable's gone up, if you have cable and internet, I mean, that's depending on what channels you want, and then plus you get a whole bunch of shit you don't even care about. I mean, you're looking at $200 a month sometimes, very easily, depending on how many TVs you have in your home and how much you're set up. But with streaming service, you got one flat fee. You can have as many screens as you need at the time, and you can share with friends and family if they need be.
And with The Office leaving Netflix January 1st, the only reason I had to keep it is Cobra Kai.
Well, yeah, and that's the only reason why I'm keeping it, because once Cobra Kai's done,
that's it. Netflix has plenty of good stuff, you guys.
Yeah, but I've watched
They
it.
have Virgin River, Jason.
Oh, God. Carlos.
Virgin River. Is that no? That's the where the heart calls or where the heart falls.
Yes. It's dude. Your wife loves it.
She does. Oh my
I know.
God.
You told me that. That's why I bring it up.
At this point, there is always something to watch on Netflix.
There is.
I cannot find it. I mean, once
The
Office,
Crown. The
Office was Netflix's crowning achievement.
Once The Office and West Wing are off of Netflix, there is nothing for me to be like, oh, I wonder if I will never go back to what I'll never go turn on Netflix again.
You don't watch The Crown?
I don't watch The Crown.
Okay. Well, I that automatically makes you an outlier because it's one of Netflix's most popular shows. So
I don't, but it's too real world. I don't want to watch it. I don't.
No. It's fine that you don't. I'm just saying we can't use your experience, extrapolate from your experience to the economic viability of the entire network.
I mean, okay, I actually jump around on streaming services. Like, if there's a new show that comes out, yeah, great. If I'm not watching things, like whenever Discovery gets done here, I won't have any other reason to have a CBS All Access subscription. I mean, it just be sitting there until the next set of Star Trek comes out. So I really don't have no use for it because I have all the episodes. So it's just why at this point. So it's like with Netflix.
Well,
again,
people like you are outliers in terms of the business model that CBS is going for with All Access. They know there's going to be some people who watch it for Star Trek and Star Trek only, who will sign up for the months that Star Trek is on. And
now they get Paramount Plus going before all this is. That's supposed to be going by mid-year, right?
I think maybe middle of next year. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem sticking around because that's the whole Paramount library. That's like Disney Plus, and it's like candy.
Right. The point being that what they're doing is they're increasing the value proposition of the streaming service for you, and it being able to reach out to you as an outlier means they're broadening their base, that's the business model that they're going for. But ultimately, and maybe we should do a show about this one day, our predictions on, in what order are these various streaming platforms going to fail and or merge over the next 10 years.
I think we might see something where we're going to see all streaming services combine like networks, and you'll have networks but with the streaming services, and you'll just have a couple main ones that have all the content underneath them, and they'll just be passed back and forth.
Internet.
I mean, if you look away from broadcast TV, I mean, that's the next logical thing. I mean, they're going to have to make their money somehow.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
But at that point, wouldn't you just shove everything back onto Netflix?
No, because I mean, you want to give people options. You want to spread it out.
That's why it's exactly that. What you're predicting won't happen. I mean, yes, there's going to be consolidation. We're going to have fewer streaming services ultimately, but you're never going to see just three like there were three broadcast networks because. I mean,
look at it like this: you'll have all the Disney stuff instead of it being Hulu and Disney. It'll all be Disney. You'll have like all the Fox stuff on
for branding purposes. Disney needs Hulu.
Haven't we had this argument over and over
we have.
Again, just like Battlestar Galactica keeps over and over.
I think the reason it's still going to be an unsettled debate, and I think there's still going to be arguments. Like, listen, I think Netflix was in the position to start streaming, and they were able to start pulling everything together. I think as all the other companies woke up and said, "Hey, wait a minute, we have all this content out there that we're just basically giving to Netflix for pennies on what we could get for dollars for in our own subscription base. Let's go launch our own services." And that's what they've been doing. The question
I'm not sure that pennies to dollars is quite the economic
no, I think it's
calculus that you is. No, I mean, they're looking at, yes, they don't have to license it out, but there's a reason why studios license content.
Well, isn't Warner HBO Max?
Yeah, it is now.
Yeah, so they are actually consolidating DC Universe into HBO Max. So they're already working on it. The only other thing we got to figure out, CW is part of Warner too, isn't it not? Or is that separate?
It's part of it. It's co-owned between CBS and Warner.
Okay, so that would be the only one that's still kind of a question mark then. Okay.
And that's a broadcast network, not a streaming platform.
No, it is a streaming platform too.
Well, it's a broadcast network that airs its stuff online, but it's still primarily
No, but I mean, I think that I think Andrew calls it out here, and this is why I think that it's the idea that we'll have consolidation isn't a foregone conclusion. With their own streaming service, the studio controls the process from conception to distribution, and I think that works very well in their favor. I think
it's true, but we also have historically that is the reason why you ended up having antitrust being brought against the studios because they did control everything from soup to nuts on that, and the U.S. government didn't look kindly upon that, and that's why they restricted, for example, the number of stations that the networks could both own and operate.
Wasn't that NBC Universal that got slapped with that one?
No, that was everybody way before. NBC Universal was something else, but I don't think it was that.
But we've seen that rolled back, right? We've seen deregulation in there, and I mean, the internet started off as this, Wild West frontier where anything goes.
Sure.
And I mean, it's going to require the will of the people to have that reined in by the government. And I think that,
eventually it's going to happen. I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, okay, well, the government regulates just about everything. Right now, streaming, I mean, it's regulated, but, I mean, it's not really taxed. It's not really controlled. I mean, they're going to start eventually. It's just something that will eventually happen once the administration gets their head out.
The problem is I could just VPN my way out of the United States and get the service from another country.
This is true.
Sure, you could, but how many people do that? It's not. You're an outlier. You have to remember you're an outlier. Regular people, mainstream, the people that the audience that these streaming platforms are really going out for are not you, and they're not.
I mean, there's not a lot of people that even know what a VPN is, or even own a computer. They do everything via their phone or their TV. Not a lot of them know what a VPN is.
No, my point is, though, as the government starts regulating things, I think you're going to see, more and more solutions of how to get around it become mainstream.
Well, and as David Sturm points out, we've seen this before and we will see it again. There's our Battlestar Galactica reference for you, son. There's this cycle of, of consolidation followed by expansion and then reconsolidation, and all that is the way things go. And right now we're in the expansion part of that. So the question is what, in what form what's the form going to take for the eventual consolidation? What's going to be left out? David talks about CBS, Paramount Plus, NBC Peacock, ABC Disney. All are solid. Yes, they all are. But you also remember that they are not the Titans. The Titans are HBO, Amazon Prime, Netflix.
Is Netflix still a Titan though?
It is still a Titan, dude. You look at the subscription numbers over just this past year. During COVID, nothing but up.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, as legacy content leaves, those dynamics will change.
Yes, they will, but that doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't necessarily equal decline. What it does is it means you have to adapt.
I mean,
the question is, will Netflix adapt? Because they have a strong subscriber base global, whereas these other folks not global. The only two global ones are Amazon Prime and Netflix.
Netflix is the World of Warcraft.
But here's the thing, we've been around the people complaining about Discovery going behind a paywall for a long time, right? We've all seen that. Mm-hmm. I'm in a couple of office groups. One is from the Office Ladies podcast group, and I'm also part of a office shitposting group called Creed Thoughts. And a lot of people there are talking about, I'm going to start because you only get the first 2 seasons with Peacock on The Office come January 1st. These people are dumping their Netflix subscriptions for in lieu of Peacock subscriptions, so they can continue to watch the show they love. Mm-hmm. Likewise, January 1st. The West Wing's leaving Netflix. It's going on to HBO Max. These are 2 major shows that are huge. They are a huge amount of volume of subscribers that go to Netflix because this is where they get their shows. When they can no longer get them there and they have to go to another service, are they going to retain their Netflix subscriptions?
I agree with your analysis. I just don't think it applies as broadly as you assume it does. Yes, there are a ton of people who go to Netflix because they have The Office, but that doesn't mean that because The Office is leaving, they're all going to leave Netflix. Yes, some are like your fans, but again, these are niches. They are not the mainstream. So
HBO Max has so many new shows coming out next year. It's mind-boggling. They got the Friends reunion. They got Mortal Kombat. They've got the Justice League.
You're also forgetting the fact that all of Warner Brothers' theatrical releases are also going on there too. So they're making a big gamble. They're making a big gamble around that. I mean, they're basically not completely, but they're not expecting theatrical to be the biggest revenue source for them in the next year.
Babylon 5, Dune.
Well, those are all niches. You know, that a good streaming service has stuff that both appeals to mainstream audiences and has content that appeals to niches. And what you're aiming for is a balance of subscribers.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you. That's the point I've been trying to bring up here, but they've been arguing over me.
Which point?
Andrew just said it didn't really lose people subscriptions. Netflix didn't lose people subscriptions.
Exactly.
When Friends left in the U.S. See, you're talking about a U.S. market, and Netflix is global.
Okay, but what's your larger point here?
Just because people leave Netflix in the United States doesn't mean Netflix's subscriber numbers, are going down. Because
I totally agree with that. Market. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
I think Friends left early in this cycle. The content that, it's
sure, but wouldn't you think though that given, it was like number 1, number 2 ranked content on Netflix for years, wouldn't you expect there to be a bigger reaction than we saw in terms of subscriptions that never materialized, loss of subscriptions that didn't really materialize or were made up for by new subscriptions?
So what happened though? So when Friends left in this, the end of last year, and I think David calls a good point. Friends.
You think so? But people watch it. People keep watching it.
My point though, Carlos, is that what happened in the months following Friends leaving Netflix that you said was, drove a lot of interest towards Netflix was a global pandemic, was lockdowns, right?
Yeah.
So did people have a time to have the opportunity to turn around and cancel? Maybe, but they signed right back up because we were all asked to stay home forever.
Mm-hmm.
I
think that's a good point, Jason. I mean, like I said to Justin a few minutes ago, the pandemic has changed kind of the terms of everything regarding
everybody's a homebody now.
Oh, back off a little bit from your mic there, Justin.
Sorry. Everybody's a homebody now.
So we don't know. I mean, there is a lot that is up in the air. You're right, Jason, that we don't know because the pandemic has sort of blown up all the models. So we're going to have to see.
I mean, basically 2021 is going to be a whole new slate as far as what to expect because we have, this last year, the pandemic, we still don't know what's going to happen with theaters. We assume they're going to reopen, but we don't know when. We don't know if what's going to be the same, what's going to be different, if we're going to be able to go back to any sense of the normal lives we used to know.
We're going to be able to go back. We are 6 months away from.
That's 6 months down the line, and now we got a mutated.
Well, let him finish his sentence. What were you getting? 6 months away from what?
We're 6 months away from enough of the population being inoculated, being able to go back to theaters, being able to go back to bowling alleys, being able to go back with some reasonable sense of safety. So like the idea of movie theaters dying, I think we're going to see more. I think the studios are going to focus more on event-driven features and less on character-driven pieces.
Well, that's the way they've been moving the last decade.
I think it's just going to accelerate that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think wasn't it you that bring it up one of the other shows that there's going to be a more premium experience? Because we're already seeing these theaters getting outfitted pretty much like restaurants. We got the ones that got the lounge recliners and tables and room service.
This is going to become a premium style I do think that you're basically, if you want to watch your movie on the cheap, it's going to be $30 or $40 for you and the family to watch it at home. If you want to go to the theater, it's probably going to be more $60, $70, $80 for you and the family, and it could possibly include a meal or other perks. But I think this will accelerate the move to that.
Yeah,
but that wasn't just me who's called that. That was George Lucas and
Yeah,
Steven
Spielberg
called that.
And they called that about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I could actually really see that because we're already seeing the theaters get outfit like that before the pandemic hit. So it's very easy for them to go in and convert.
But you have to understand that the universe in which you're talking about, where those things happen, you're talking about a lot less content being distributed through those means.
Not necessarily because
yes, necessarily because they have to be able to make tentpole level money.
Yeah, but people are still going to want the theater experience.
That flies in the face of everything we've seen demographically for the last 25 years, Justin.
No, the price will go up, Carlos.
The price will go up, which means the number of people going in will go down.
Right, but
or the amount of times that they go,
unless you get perks and going.
For you and I who don't want to go spend $80 or $90 to see the theater, we'll spend $40 with our family to watch it at home.
I go to the theater all the time.
I think we've spent way too long on this topic.
Well, it's a good topic.
It's a good topic, just because you don't like it.
I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying, I'm starting to get bored of this topic because.
Well, that's fine. Actually, I was gonna wind us down anyway because we're about 2.5 hours. So,
hey, how about that? We did it without Sean.
we're good to leave it there, and we can wind up with our regular final segment, which is what are we watching for this week, and then we'll close out the show and stick around for a little bit for this week's Florida Man segment. So let's move right on over to what we watched this week, and let's start with Justin.
Well, I know what I will be watching next week, and that's going to be Cobra Kai. When it comes out. And then, of course, next week's episode of Discovery. I've been doing a lot of gaming, and other than that, it's pretty much just waiting until the first of the year when Cobra Kai drops, so I have something to binge. We're getting all the episodes at once, right?
Let's see. This is on Netflix, probably.
Mm-hmm. How many episodes do we know?
Their seasons were never terribly long, so I'm guessing wasn't it only like 6 or 7 episodes a season? David, look it up for me. David's always he's been our
David
department.
Google. David, look up. He's like the new Siri.
Okay, so the Cobra Kai for you coming up.
And I think that's pretty much the only thing I got plans on. I might go back and do rewatch of The Expanse because I really didn't get a chance to do it this time. I'm kind of regretting it because I always try to go back and do a rewatch of a show after it's been a while in between runs. I don't know. I didn't get around to it because there's so much content. We're going to have big content voids for us coming up. Once the Discovery ends, it's no Star Trek until sometime next year, and then we just have Doctor Who, and I hope it's better this year. Oh, God, I hope it's better this year.
Well, we do have the New Year's
Christmas special
edition coming out in a few days, so we'll have something to talk about for that.
10 episodes for season 3 Cobra Kai.
Yep, 10 episodes. And their episodes are only a half hour long, aren't they?
They're a little bit longer, I think, but I mean
they're not hour long though.
No, they're like half hour.
Yeah,
they're like 30. They'll go. They'll. But that's the cool thing about streaming, is that you're not constrained to the time constraints of a television schedule.
Well, no, but you're constrained to the budget restraints of a budget. So
no, but what I'm saying is that like
with that, what it does is it gives you some variation in
30 minutes of
episodes, but it doesn't change. It doesn't change the game in terms of episode length.
Doctor Who was good last year. Parts of it was, Andrew. Parts of it was. I hope it's better this year.
I think we can agree that Doctor Who, this past iteration, has squandered a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, the writing, not the actors. The actor's perfect. I love the doctor. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Jodie's doctor. It's the way they wrote her that just
Well, we
doesn't-
can save this discussion for
Yeah,
after.
we're going to need one of those.
Yeah,
apparently.
for sure, for sure.
Doctor, you bring it coming.
Okay, so that was all from you, Justin. Let's go to Sun next. What did you watch this week?
So this week for Christmas, the Century 21 Films, which is the Jerry Anderson production YouTube channel, released their Nebula 75 Christmas special. So I watched that. That was nice. I loved it.
What was it like?
It was basically this. Hey, we have to find these criminals who are stealing all of this stuff from people on Christmas, and we have to give them back all of their ship parts. Kind of episode.
I see.
And in doing so, we have to miss our holiday on an ice planet so we can build snowmen.
Oh,
yeah. But it has a nice little turnaround at the end, so that there was that nice bit at the end. But yeah, I'd definitely go and recommend watching it if you're a fan of Super Marionation.
Super Marionation. Beard Fussy, what did you watch this week?
I haven't been able to wrestle the remote away from the wife.
No.
With the end of the holiday season, that means less Hallmark Christmas movies, and more Hallmark television shows set in the Pacific Northwest in the turn of century Connecticut. And so the only thing I have going for me is being able to count down the episodes until Lori Loughlin gets written off the show because of her
Prison sentence.
Yeah, her legal woes. So so she's been watching When Calls the Heart, which is like, I don't know, it's so saccharine. Like I think it's giving me cavities already. But
Well, this is why your wife gave you soap for Christmas.
Oh yeah, we never did see what the said on there, did we?
Speaking of love stories, I kind of missed watching A Recipe for Subduction. So,
the
Colonel Sanders one, yeah.
Yeah,
about that.
I don't know if I can bring myself to it. Honestly, I just
no.
You don't want to watch a Mexican guy playing
being a racist Kentucky colonel,
a white Southern general.
Colonel, he's a colonel. Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so not a lot from you this week, Justin. I'm hoping you'll, once we get past the holidays, you'll be able to get the remote back and be the man.
Did you need to call him Justin again?
Did I? Damn it!
You did.
Sorry. All you white people look alike to me.
Beard Fussy. Justin. It's right there in a nice label that's easy to read with a nice new little bubble that we have now.
Okay, so I guess I'm the last one, yes? Okay, so I'll make this quick. I wrapped up watching The Crown, which I forget who it was on comments just now who said that it's past its better seasons. Totally disagree. I think this was a great season. Most of the critics agree with that too. And then my guilty pleasure of the past week on Netflix has been Tiny Pretty Things, which is set in a high school ballet academy where everyone is just naughty and bad. And it's actually really terrible, but I can't stop watching. Like some of the expository writing and it's just so like the motivation. Some of these characters, one episode they hate one another, the next episode they're in love. It's just, and yet I can't stop watching. I think it's the ballet. I don't know, but I keep watching it. Let's see. For Christmas Day, I went over to my Jewish friend's house and we watched Fiddler on the Roof. We did a sing-along Fiddler on the Roof and ordered Chinese food. And that was Christmas for me yesterday.
You had Chinese food on Christmas Day, I had a pizza, so that's quite okay.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a Jewish tradition, Chinese food on Christmas Day.
We actually we went to PF Chang's Christmas Eve.
I've done that on Christmas Eve. I love PF Chang's, actually. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, PF Chang's is the best Chinese I've found so far.
I'm not sure I'd call it the best Chinese.
No,
just
it's the
good
best
food.
Chinese I've found in Salt Lake City.
Oh, okay. I can't speak to that. But I have actually eaten at the one downtown, that PF Chang's downtown.
That's the one I went to.
I have been to that PF Chang's.
Oh.
Wow, we've been in the same restaurant, Jason. I feel so much closer to you.
We did that last year at STLV when we were actually in the same restaurant.
Well, yes, I know, but like in our separate lives. That's true. We did do it in person. And let's see, what else was there?
I just need to say, David, you are absolutely wrong. There is nothing good about this show other than waiting for Lori Loughlin to get shit canned for.
Well, are you talking about When Calls the Heart?
Yes.
Well, you have to add the next comment because it goes with that one.
Oh, I slightly flashed down right. Okay. Oh, okay. I like Snidely. Isn't it Snidely Whiplash?
I don't know.
I'm not quite sure either, but I always thought it was Snidely. But I've been wrong about this sort of things before. Okay. By the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Cobra Kai's release is a week earlier than announced before.
Yes.
And,
oh my God!
So that is Netflix's New Year's present to you. Also, I noticed that this week Amazon released this week's episode of The Expanse a full day early. It was released on Tuesday instead of Wednesday.
Yeah, I was hoping they would do a double feature because, Christmas. But, hey.
Denied.
Oh, yes. Thank you for putting my formal title up there. Justin, not Jason. Okay, I think that brings us around to the end, to us 4 last bastions of super geekiness. So we will formally bring this week's episode to a close. Remember, our program note for next week is we will also, because of New Year's Day, be doing our broadcast, our live stream on Saturday, the 2nd of January. So join us then. Don't be with us on the Friday because we will be either in revelry or hungover. So we will see you next week on January 2nd in the new year. The new year may be a much better one than this one.
You know what? I need to have a look at the contract here because I'm not going to sign nothing until I get a guarantee that 2021 will be a better year.
I'm not sure who you're signing your contracts with, but good luck. Okay.
It's got to be better. It's got to be better. It's got to be better. It's got to be better.
I hope so. And to our friends in chat room, thank you for all your comments, questions, and observations this week. We really enjoy them and interacting with you that way. So please continue to do so. And you are as stalwart or more than Justin himself.
And believe me, that's a great compliment.
That's pretty stalwart. It's pretty stalwart. So thanks again for joining us. We will formally sign off now. Stick around for Florida Man if that's your thing. It is ours. And otherwise, we'll see you next week.
And
where's the dance, Jason? Thank you.
there we go.
There we go. Okay.
See,
So
I'm not
those of
affiliated on Twitch, so I don't have to worry about it.
Florida Man makes Christmas cookies with python eggs.
Seriously?
Yep.
Ow!
That is a great Florida Man opener.
Florida Man! Python eggs!
Wow, that was unexpected. That was unexpected. What were they? Chocolate chip? What were they?
Apparently he's a snake hunter in Florida, and apparently he's dubbed it Chicken of the Glades. Python is apparently Chicken of the Glades. So
I guess so.
I saw that and I said, this has to be first.
Wow.
Florida man was arrested Tuesday after he reportedly traveled to Utah to have sex with a minor.
Whoa.
Yikes.
No covering the extra NATO on that stuff. Oh.
Dark Florida
So this is
man.
the second story in which Jason has had the voice and has not said Florida man.
I said Florida man. I said Florida man.
He did the voice on yours.
No, I'm saying he's had the voice on but has not said Florida man.
I said Florida man.
Or maybe you said Florida Python. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I did Florida man, and then I did Florida boo.
Florida man arrested for eating pancakes in the sidewalk.
The fuck, Florida man?
Now you just made me want to make waffles, which I'm going to do as soon as we get off this show.
I have fresh homemade buttermilk that I'm going to be making pancakes with tomorrow.
Mm.
I made my own butter for my rib roast yesterday.
I'm coming over to your house.
I had a ham with like Christmas Eve. I had my Christmas dinner. Oh my God, I'm still on the voice. Damn it!
You didn't realize you're still doing the voice?
Well, I looked away because I was looking at someone's post, and okay, where was I? Yeah, Christmas Eve, I had my dinner, and then Christmas Day, I just ordered pizza. But I mean, it's Christmas Day, that's what you do. You have your dinner Christmas Eve, and then you pick out relax Christmas Day.
Florida man arrested after drugs fall out of his pants in front of deputies.
Dumbass Florida man.
BuzzFeed has a list of top 60 Florida man stories.
That's too many.
Oh.
I found a TV station in Tampa, WFLA, who did their top 8 Florida man stories of 2020. And I'm just going to read the headlines really quick. Number 1, Tampa woman arrested for allegedly making bomb in Walmart.
Florida woman.
Yeah. Number 2.
God.
Number 2, this is a goodie. Florida woman arrested for stuffing porn in plastic Easter eggs and placing them in mailboxes.
What?
Number 3, the Grim Reaper visits Florida as beaches reopen. This was from May 1st, where a Florida lawyer dressed up as the Grim Reaper and tooled around the beaches. Yeah, I think we did. I remember that one. Number 4, Florida man with machete face tattoo accused of using machete to attack man. I think we covered that one too.
We covered that one.
Yeah. Let's see. We also covered number 5, which was the Florida man who used his COVID money to buy a Lamborghini. Number 6, Florida man. And number 6, Florida man. I have no idea. Florida man buys Porsche and Rolex with fake check printed from home computer. Apparently they fell for it for a while.
Dumbass Porsche dealer.
Let's see. From October 26th, man in Polk County, Florida, steals bulldozer, runs down Biden signs. What's Al Bundy? Possibly. And then number 8, I know is one that we've covered before. The Florida man who was nabbed for street racing, blasting bad boys as he was being arrested.
Yep, that was week before last. Florida man.
Here's a fun story that I don't think we covered. Florida woman loses arm feeding tigers at Carol Baskin's big cat rescue in Tampa.
Wow.
Is there any more 2020 story than that?
That sums up 2020 and so
2020.
Florida man hangs giant roll of toilet paper in his front yard.
Andrew Purvis says the fake check one should have been up higher. It was.
Florida man flies Learjet with excavator like toy plane.
Florida man.
That would be pretty awesome to see.
Yes, it would.
There's actually a video of it. I have to go and find it now. Yeah, there's
Link it.
I will once I find it.
Florida woman is selling a chicken tender shaped like a manatee for $5,000.
Shaped like a manatee. Oh wow. I would buy that. I love manatees for lunch.
Carlos, email that get the complaint line.
Thank you. It's almost as good as being told to stop it by Travis.
No, Travis.
Now, have you extracted that audio yet, Justin, for us to use?
I'm working on it.
Okay, good. Because he gave you like 3 in one show last week. That's awesome.
I know. I've been.
Here's the Instagram post of that.
Jason, you want to get that one up?
Son posted it in chat.
I'm almost afraid. Next week I'll be able to do it. Next week I'll be able to do it.
Whee!
Oh, it's destroying. It's a crane destroying a Learjet.
Whee!
I mean, that's pretty awesome. You gotta.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. That is kind of. Wee.
Oh wait! I got the perfect voice for this. Wee!
Why did that sound like Sun?
It did sound like Son.
Wee!
Son, you're your own voice.
Apparently.
Video of Florida man playing Uno in middle of traffic goes viral.
Florida man.
South Florida drag queen goes viral after passing out during live show, raising hundreds.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Florida man.
Oh, ouch.
This Florida influencer, filmed herself licking a plain toilet seat for clout on TikTok as part of the coronavirus challenge.
Oh God.
No. Stop it. No.
It doesn't work as well when you do it, Justin.
No,
that's
no.
totally a Travis thing.
Okay, that's something I have to see. Florida man plays Christmas Carol by juggling tennis balls on keyboard.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Florida man.
That would be
Florida man admits hire your proxy Overwatch streets to combat COVID-19.
He should have used bleach. Isn't that what the president suggested?
Florida man, 39, dressed only in his underwear, strikes Florida sheriff's deputy across the face with a Bible while screaming, "I condemn you."
Florida man.
This is actually pretty neat. Wow. It's another Instagram post, though. So there you go.
Okay, let's see. Are you putting it up?
Yeah, I put it in
Yes,
our.
I'll put it up.
There it is. Oh my God.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
For every crazy Florida man, there's actually a pretty neat one.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome. Florida man. With balls.
Okay, that was awesome. The first one, I was like, it's good, but it's not that good. The tempo's a little off. But then,
It would have been fun. It would have been fun. Oh, you're talking about that one. Yeah, but that's.
but the second, once we got into the second
part.
part, it was pretty awesome.
Here's a heartwarming story. Florida man loses prosthetic leg surfing, but team finds it and returns it.
Awesome Florida kid.
Some Florida kid.
Yeah, Florida kid.
Oh, Florida kid does good.
Naked Florida man tells deputies he's Batman.
Because of the costume?
Naked Florida man tells deputies he's Batman.
Yeah, well, I guess we're going to take his word for it, right?
Florida man lets 12-year-old drive Jeep 85 miles per hour.
Good Lord.
What?
I don't even let a 12-year-old on my e-bike.
What?
Florida deems WWE pro wrestling essential business amid coronavirus pandemic.
Idiot Florida people.
Which reminds me, by the way, Jason, that I got a request yesterday from my friend Leslie's son, Ethan, who's 12, that we serious about the Super Tots show, which I think we are, right? We should probably. I think we should start planning.
I think we need to do that, and we should do it on an afternoonish.
Like a Saturday afternoon.
And have the parents behind, kind of monitoring. And I think that actually be a good little thing. Just let the kids have fun, give them some ground rules, and hey, why not? Super Geeks are kids too.
Super Tots. All right. Any other Florida Mings we need to know about?
Florida man calls police after mistaking parrot for woman screaming for help.
Florida man.
Florida woman arrested for threatening to get McDonald's sauce by any means necessary.
By any means. Wow.
Give me your sauce now.
She is serious about her spicy mustard.
I guess so.
Well,
I'll tell you what, though.
Good. That shit is good.
My top two priorities, right after we get off of the show here tonight, are number one, food, and number two, Wonder Woman.
God, you're fat.
I've got
priorities, Justin. Priorities.
Florida man sets own truck on fire to, quote, give the deputies something to do. Cops find methamphetamine in man's front pocket and possession charge.
Yeah.
Poop shoot needed. Well, can you just not install your own poop chute?
Wow, they actually show the shoot.
They're showing ass. I don't think I can get to Twitch.
I think it's side ass, technically.
It's side ass?
Yeah.
Is that like side boob?
Just like side boob, but a bit lower south.
That's what she said.
Yeah. It is.
Right.
Well, so does it have any kind of shoot, or is it just a solid piece of...
zip it all the
So
way
you
down.
had to say, oh my God, that would suck.
Wow.
Then you had to shimmy out of it every
Stand
time.
up and let's get a better look at it.
Oh God, you're gonna see my fatness.
I'm the fat one, remember?
After we go out. Oh, okay.
Oh, come on. Oh, it's adorable.
It's still not as fat as Carlos. So you're fine.
It's adorable, Jason. You have nothing to be ashamed about there.
And I make
too bad it's more season 1 TNG. Like it would be better as like a season 5 or something.
I make you both look like midgets, so I don't want to hear the fat talk.
I just wish I'd had no like my hoodie has no.
Put one of your big ones.
Oh, so that you could put one of your big ones on.
Florida man stuffs over $1,000 in rectum in attempt to hide it from deputies.
Don't they know that's the first place the deputy's going to look?
By the way, one
I
of the
don't know
things
about you, but that's some dirty money to me.
that Casey sent me was
He sent you a Lower Decks one?
and it's the magnetic.
Oh, those are cool.
I also got a USS Cerritos pin and a smaller Lower Decks one that is a pin, and then he sent me a book.
Wow, Casey just sent you like a haul. That's pretty cool.
Sean sent me a book too in a box.
Florida woman slips out of handcuffs 4 times after DUI arrest.
That's
Crafty Florida woman.
That's tenacious. Okay, well, my hunger is calling to me, so I'm gonna pop out. And you guys are welcome to stay longer if you like, but
You don't need any more food. No, you're fine. Just eat a salad. Go toss the salad. No, I'm kidding.
Is that a
Ow.
what?
That's a great joke.
I know.
You just broke Jason. You broke Jason.
I know.
Yes.
Are you okay, Jason? Jason? No. Yes. No. Wow. I can't think of a better way to end the show than a broken Jason. At least
Yes.
he's conscious. He didn't fall asleep this
A
time.
broken Jason
Oh.
salad. All we need are some
Well,
bacon bits.
I'm sorry, a broken Jason is still not as that big as when we broke Ross one night. Now that was funny.
Yeah. Ross is fun to break. So is Justin.
It happens.
I'm
It's
not
rare,
Justin.
but it happens.
I meant to say Travis. Travis is fun to break.
Yeah. Lordy.
All right. Well, thank you guys for putting up with my technical difficulties. I think it is the Firefox update, Justin. That,
It probably was
caused the
because I had to
problem.
go and reset everything after that damn update. So
Yeah.
if y'all have in Firefox, don't use it to stream from. It sucks.
Well, dude, it was the only thing that was working because Safari and Chrome didn't. And now it's doing exactly the same thing that Chrome does, which is it's fine with the microphone, terrible with the camera.
Well, don't be cheap and buy a real webcam. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm not.
What? It was $300. You can't say this isn't real. Anyway, okay. So
Andrew,
hopefully
he can't. He uses a GoPro for a camera, and it won't work that way.
it absolutely does work that way. I tried,
for
Andrew,
Chrome.
using Chrome. Chrome was the one that gave me the trouble from the outset.
You can entirely use a GoPro that way. How do you think they video shit from drones?
Exactly.
We just got to get you set up
What do
with
we-
a better program.
What
That
are we
is
look?
his phone.
What are we looking at here,
That's his phone.
Beard Fassé?
That's my phone.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Ah, he's poking us.
No. Ooh, ow.
No! Ow! So this entire time you've been reversed. I see how you are.
Andrew, you may be disappointed to learn this, but I'm on a Mac, so wait, they do make Edge for the Mac, don't they?
No, don't go to Edge because Edge is basically
Chromium ripped
It's
off.
basically it's Chromium, but
They basically ripped off Chrome, but it still has
look, guys,
issues.
if it runs my my webcam, then I'm fine with it because I only use it for this one thing.
Well, then stay on Opera.
Well, I will, except its video seems a little jerkier than the others, but it works, so I'm not going to complain.
Well, I think that's something that StreamYards did because I've noticed that we only at the 720p option now.
Mhm.
So I think that they downgraded the video quality to make you upgrade the professional package for whatever reason. So we don't have 1080. We only have 720. So that's why video looks a little janky.
Hey, what?
Yeah, go look at the options. It's only 720p now.
Well, I guess we're going back to Zoom.
Yeah, I know. It says upgrade to 1080p for a professional package or whatever that is.
That's garbage.
Thank you. And we're still on it. All right, everybody. We will.
They got to make money somehow.
Well, it's getting popular, and now all the streaming services are making bank because of COVID. All right, so we are going to do our little after show here. Carlos, go feed your face.
I will.
Enjoy your salad.
It's not going to be a salad, I can promise.
Enjoy your salad tossing.
Dude,
And everyone, remember, you are loved and appreciated by just
And
being you.
you too, son. Thank you all. This is our last. I should have made a point pointing out that this is our last show of the year, technically. So
unless we
it's,
end up being some weird sideshow, but yeah, pretty much.
well, for this podcast, it is the last
Yeah,
one of the
so
year.
sad.
So yes, it's been a wonderful year with all of you. We've made it through together. I'm glad we survived 2020, and you guys certainly helped me. I hope we did the same for you. And
This podcast has kept me sane. I think it's helped all of us in a way, really, because looking forward to the Wayne event after a week, it's very therapeutic. I mean, we don't do this for the money. We don't do this for the clicks. No, money would be nice. Money would be very nice. If you want to donate, send it to Jason because he's the one that pays the bill for this setup. So if you want to be nice, yes, do that. But it's just a way for a group of friends to get together and talk about what they like and what they dislike. And we include anybody who wants to join. If you want to come on the show and
Well, don't spread that invitation out too broadly, dude.
But hang out for a while. Let us get to know you, and then if we have a slot, it's like great. We might pull you in. It's just we just have to get to know people really well, and if we have a slot, we'll do it. It just depends on this random chance.
Quit digging the hole.
Yes, just you can
digging the hole.
All right, I'm going to click end broadcast now.
Yes.
Good night.
Okay, thank
everyone.
you.
See y'all in 2021.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.